Okay, and we are live. Hello, everyone. It is I, your King Billy, and today we're kind of short a few people, so it's just me and Super Dark Water. If you want to introduce yourself, Super Dark Water, that's fine.
Yo, how's it going? I have a comic book review channel called Super Dark Water, and then I also have a daily vlog channel called Super Dark Water Videos.
What do you do on that vlog channel normally?
Uh, I haven't been uploading this week, but normally I do daily videos, just vlog my life pretty much. Just like going on adventures, going to work, doing
You
daily
aren't
air.
worried about being doxxed?
No, I don't really care about that. That's kind of a first world problem to me.
Okay.
I've
Yeah,
been
see,
like I've been like homeless before, so I'm not really afraid of anything.
okay, because, it's funny because I was wanting to do a video giving my 2 cents on the whole, Fat Panther and Underground Geek drama.
Uh,
Personally, I just felt like a doxing joke is pretty tame compared to a murder joke, and I think it was taken way too far and stuff like to react to a joke like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Fat Panther was never going to dox Underground Geek. He was just
No,
literally just
I mean,
making a joke.
yeah, I mean, he had a GIF, so I mean, the GIF kind of hinted at that it was a joke, yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Underground Geek took it too far.
yeah, yeah, because you got a couple of comments I think from Nightwolf Plays about that.
What?
Like you got a comment on your video about like from Nightwolf Plays or something, wherever his name is.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the title of this video was basically Age of Shitlords, Waifus versus Thoughts, because Ricardo requested us doing like an anime stream, but unfortunately he couldn't. He won't be able to be here. So yeah,
Who? Oh, Ricardo.
Ricardo. Yeah, I don't know. You're familiar with the term waifu, right?
Yeah, isn't that like anime wife?
Yeah, it's like it's either anime or it can be fictional female character that you want to be like your significant other.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then the term thoughts, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
That
like
hoe
the
over
term.
there.
Yeah, see, the term has gained recent traction because I'm not sure if you're familiar with the whole alt-right thought drama, like trad thought, as they call it.
What's that?
It's all where you have these women that talk about wanting traditional relationships and traditional marriage and all that stuff, but they've been caught sleeping around with a bunch of guys, which is why they're called trad thoughts.
Oh,
It's like the whole Lauren Southern thing where it turns out that she was like in an interracial relationship and obviously having sex with this person when she basically kind of billed herself as being like pro traditionalism.
what does being in an interracial relationship have to do with being traditional?
Oh, it's because she was basically banging the person outside of marriage.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But
How
the alt-right was pissed because she was kind of like they thought of her kind of someone thought of her as like their poster girl and stuff. So when they learned that she was interracial relationship, they like lost their shit and stuff.
Well, how do we know she was banging him?
I think they confirmed that she was basically, yeah.
How?
I think there's a leak somewhere. I can't remember. All I know is that like first people because yeah, and I think other people who are familiar with the whole like in the whole conservative movement have also been talking about how there are several. They didn't name names. It's just a couple of names came up for people who are basically yeah again having sexual relationships behind closed doors, all the while trying to basically tell people to be traditionalists.
Hmm, that makes sense.
So people are complaining, saying that like a lot of these some of these traditionalist women are basically, in a sense, not practicing what they preach,
Yeah,
and
that make
people feel like it's dishonest and basically yeah creating drama.
yeah, it's understandable.
Well, yeah, now there's like a whole bunch of drama within the alt right about the whole. Some are complaining about the whole thought patrol and like the whole kind of MGTOW aspect to the alt right sometimes because they want to some and there's some aspects that just kind of like want a white knight and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I don't think the alt right does itself any favors by white knighting because it basically is becoming a bit, where they're getting into these awkward situations where they basically are kind of almost cucking to like basically look good for women.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Thought Patrol.
No, what's that?
Normally, I guess I think it's like it's a term for people like on the right or kind of jumping on the movement just to base or to basically like sell something for like money. Like, like, because like Lauren kind of makes a lot of money off of like, her followers and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
people have accused her of being like dishonest and stuff when like people looked into her history.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done
But
much
yeah,
research, much research about that stuff. I watch like Infowars videos and like a few like Rebel Media, or Steven Crowder or Jordan Peterson.
well,
But
they don't
other than
really
that,
mention it. It's just kind of like right now there's like a kind of a mini civil war going on within the right wing movement where people are kind of getting hung over semantics and the whole, like how anti alt right people are going to be and stuff to the point where you make statements kind of like what SJWs do, where
mm-hmm,
it's like they just like accuse people of being something and not listening to what they have to say.
mm-hmm.
Because it's just all the semantic stuff. Because I mean, I'm not sure if you feel like there's a similar issue in Comicsgate,
For a similar issue, how? What do you mean?
like semantics and like I don't know, maybe potential white knighting in the community that kind of makes the community like I don't know, just like it makes the community more like less willing to be like controversial.
Uh, in Comicsgate,
Yeah,
I guess I don't see the parallel.
you don't see the parallel.
No, like what do you like? Explain it more. What do you mean?
Well, it's kind of like people are kind of annoyed. Some people got a little upset over like the politically incorrect tweets and like the shit posting, and
Uh,
were afraid of us looking bad. Like especially when it came to the like Mags and Heather Antos stuff.
hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't pay attention to most of that. I just read comic books, and like I'll pay attention to like if a creator blocks me, or if a creator like does something that is like kind of SJW. But other than that, I don't really give a shit what the fans do. Most fans are pretty annoying to me, honestly. I just like there's like people in Comicsgate that I agree with, and there's people in Comicsgate that I think take Comicsgate way too seriously, and I'm like, I just like comic books. I don't really care about all the drama.
Oh, who do you think takes it too seriously?
I mean, no one in particular. It's just like when people like it seems like on Twitter there's like a lot of talk about like problems in comics, and like that's fine. Like I don't mind talking about problems in comics, but I prefer to talk about like good comics, like rather than roasting comics all the time. So I pretty much like don't care about like most of the drama. I just care about like I think it's funny or interesting when there's like a big deal, like something like big happens, like when the what's his name, the Aubrey Sitterson guy said you couldn't wear 9/11, like stuff like that. Like if it's like it makes news, it's like a big deal. I'm like, oh okay, yeah, I'll get into it. But just like every day, I don't like talking about it like every single day, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah,
I mean, I'd rather talk about good comics every day, if that makes sense, rather than like
yeah,
problems within the comic book community, if that makes sense.
okay, yeah. It's just I don't know. It's like with comics, there's just been a lot of semantics, and I don't know. People are just complain. Some people are complaining about I don't know, like being offensive or all that stuff. And see me, I think the shit posting is important just because it's a way of expressing your freedom of speech and it shows that you're basically not worried about what people think about you and stuff. So because I mean, some people comic skate are genuinely shit posters or people who feel disenfranchised because they don't follow left wing politics.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because like again, like comic books are very extremely and like toxically left wing, which is one of the reasons why like the industry is in such a bad state that is because it's not a diverse pool of ideas.
Do you think Comicsgate isn't a diverse pool of ideas?
Oh, sorry, I meant the comic book industry.
Oh, you think the comic book industry isn't a diverse pool of ideas?
Not really. There's not. I mean, are there any mainstream conservative comic books out there? Not really. Most comic books seem to be very left leaning.
I mean, I would say a majority of DC comics are pretty conservative.
Like in what way? Because I don't really see very overtly conservative messages
Do
or
you read
either.
Action Comics?
I didn't read Action Comics, but what about that was conservative exactly?
Um, I mean, as far as there, I mean, it's all about traditional family values. That's like the most conservative thing that if you don't read Action Comics, it's hard to like. It's all about the family, which is exactly what conservative traditional values is all about. Um, it's all about men being men and women being women and starting a family and
Okay,
hope, and that's all. That's pretty much everything that the conservative
but yes, but what about
point of view believes.
yeah, but I mean, what about like I don't know. I guess what I mean is like what about like stuff that could be considered politically incorrect though? Because it seems like there's not really any comic books that do that, where it's kind of like, oh, here's a challenge to left wing comic books. Because I mean, family is definitely one thing which is good. It's just I just mean like stuff with like a political message that is more like that's more to the right than rather to the left. Because it seems like most comic books tend to when it comes to messages, goes takes a left wing stance.
I think that that's very common, but I wouldn't say that there is no conservative comic books. I think comic books like uh, I don't know. Let's see, what's a good example?
Well, the only thing I can tell
Punisher.
is like there's like alt hero, which is something new. Like that's kind of very unapologetically conservative, like right wing.
Who's the publisher for that?
That was the one. That's a comic book that's being written by Vox Day.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it is a. There was a Kickstarter months ago. It hasn't come out yet. I'm not sure when it's going to come out, but it's basically like I said. It's called Alt Hero, and it's basically like a far right comic book, where like like one
Oh,
of the
it's far
superhero.
right. See, far right is different than conservative.
Well, I guess you're right. I mean, when I say right wing comic books, that's kind of that. I just want that's like the spectrum, not like specific.
Yeah, I don't think that there's alt right comics, at least not that I'm aware of, but
Well,
there's definitely
there's a
light
difference. I
or
think there's a
alt
little
light
difference.
comics.
There's a difference between well, there's a difference between the far right and the like in the alt right and stuff. I think
Well,
because some people are.
it's actually the alt right and the alt light with a L.
Yeah, that's one thing. Well, there isn't. But the thing is, I mean, I can't think of any politically incorrect comic books because alt right is very politically incorrect. Like that's Gavin McInnes, that's Milo, and all the other conservative rock stars who are really unapologetic about their conservative stances.
I mean, Frank Miller makes alt light I mean, he's not very politically correct. And
He's
same
not very
with
politically correct, but he doesn't like. I don't think he likes Reagan, so that kind of doesn't make him conservative. I think he's anti-Reagan.
yeah, he's kind of just a contrarian in general,
Yeah, that's what I hear.
um, but I think I mean, I don't know what Frank Miller's political stances are, but I know that he's definitely made comics that are not politically correct.
Yeah, it's just also the thing is today, if you're a conservative, you can't really be outspoken in the industry or you could probably get fired. You know, like you
True.
can't do
Yeah,
what Max
there
does.
is
Yeah.
definitely like people trying to silence conservative voices.
Well, that's what also one of my points was is that I feel like the pool of people are almost very overwhelmingly progressive or left wing in general, and I feel like they need more right wing writers to come in to try and like balance out all these like very hyper partisan books.
Yeah.
See, that's what we have. See, my view of alt heroes. Alt hero is basically kind of like it's like anti venom because you have venom and the only cure venom is normally with anti venom, which is made up of venom. So I'm kind of like a believer that when you have right wing comic books, it can help fix the industry because then you have less people feel disenfranchised when there are books out there for them.
Yeah. Makes
Because
sense.
I feel like the comic book industry is way too small, and it needs to expand more. Like I just feel like they should be like books. Like books are is a really great industry where they have so many different kinds of books for like everyone. So I feel like with comic books they need to just get like like need to sell more.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I just miss the '90s when comics were about comics, not really about politics, and
Well,
like
they
the
were kind
early
of political in the
2000s.
'90s. Like there was, that was like when they're having those sexual revolutions in comic books.
Yeah, I think that started in the '80s though, or '70s. That was a while ago. The
Well, it took
'90s
off
was
in the
like
'90s a lot.
the '90s were like the peak of it.
Yeah, but the only thing is a lot of people hate the '90s because it's anti-heroes. They think it made comic books all edgy and ruined the medium.
Oh, I like that. I like not anti-heroes, but I also like like regular heroes too. I like them both.
Yeah, the thing about I guess the thing about alt hero is that like so a lot of people are calling it alt right, but I honestly don't see it as alt right just because the only thing message in the book is like there's an anti illegal immigration message. There's like some anti EU messages, which again that's standard conservatism. I wouldn't call that alt right. I mean, the only thing is that there is a hero there called Rebel that basically wears a Confederate flag as part of her costume.
That's funny.
But again, I wouldn't, you don't really have to call that alt right since there's plenty of, people who aren't alt right that like have those Confederate flags.
Yeah, I mean, I used to live. My old neighbor used to have a Confederate flag, and I mean, he wasn't necessarily alt right, but he was definitely. I mean, he was like conservative liberal, and he wasn't like racist or anything, but he had a
Yeah.
giant Confederate flag.
But he still probably hated Obama.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he did, but like
Well,
most people didn't like Obama.
well, yeah, because no, I didn't like Obama either because essentially he kind of reduced the presidency to like, are you racist, sexist, homophobic, and all that stuff.
I liked his personality. I thought he was really funny, and I liked that he was a peaceful voice, but I don't think I would agree with his policies.
I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like having hardcore voices is a necessity, especially in our world right now, because you have a lot of very bad stuff happening around the world.
Yeah,
And I just think it's important to tell how it is because like there's that whole racism in South Africa that's been going around with like the genocide, and then you have like China, which became a dictatorship, and Europe is basically collapsing.
hmm
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I just feel like people today are really I don't know. It's like they want as their president and stuff. They're like afraid of like a hardcore, hard hitting president, which was kind of a common thing back in the old days.
yeah. I don't know. I think that Trump's getting more supporters by the day, though. I think he might even get
Well, yeah.
reelected
The
for
thing about
2020.
the thing about Trump is he's not a politician.
hmm
Like politicians are good at the whole language stuff, whereas he isn't. So this is just him showing that he's like not a politician. And I think a lot of people don't want him to be a politician because people have had to deal with politicians for like years. So
hmm
it's something new. And a non-politician president was going to be inevitable eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So out of curiosity, so do you like watch a lot of anime or not really?
I've been watching Dragon Ball Super, and I watched the whole Castlevania Netflix series. So I'll watch anime like pretty sporadically. But
Wait, how was the Castlevania Netflix series?
I loved it. It was really good, and I think they're doing a Metroid series too.
Okay, so like which games was it based off of?
What did you say?
Which games is it based off of?
Castlevania, it takes its own storyline. It's not really based on any of the games. It's kind of like it takes different things from the games. I've only played like one Castlevania game. I'm not super into Castlevania. I just really like vampires. Um,
Oh,
But
which game did you play?
um, what are the games again? Like, what are the names of the games?
There's a lot of them.
Like the most, like three most recent ones.
I don't follow the recent ones. I only know like Symphony of the Night, like the old ones.
Hold on, I'll look it up. I played Dawn of. Oh wait, I think I played. I think I played Dawn of. Oh shit. I either played Order of Ecclesia, Dawn of Sorrow, or Portrait of Ruin, and I can't remember which one it was. Um, Probably Portrait of Ruin, I think.
Oh, okay, Portrait of Ruin.
I honestly can't remember. I like rented it for a couple of days and tried it out. I'm not into Castlevania at all. I'm more into Metroid. I play Metroid like almost every day.
Oh, okay.
It's like, and you know about like the whole Metroidvania thing, right? Like how it's like the that's like a style of video game or whatever.
Oh, like Metroidvania. Oh, you talking about like how Symphony of the Night is kind of set up like Metroid,
All the
like
Castlevania games are set up like Metroid. There's like literally a genre. It's its own genre called Metroidvania. So it's like all the
you talking about
Castlevania
being in the
games.
castle. So you talking about the castle setup, right?
It's like side scrolling with like the specific action, like the specific like fighting, or not fighting, but like button techniques, like where it's like you're like fighting in a side scrolling adventure game. It's kind of hard to explain. Like literally just Google Metroidvania. There's like a whole Wikipedia page for it. But it's basically like talking about how Metroid and Castlevania are very similar,
Oh,
in
okay.
the
I thought
button
I think that
control and
yeah, I think that's because I think that term came out with like Symphony of the Night because Symphony of the Night only took place in Dracula's castle, and how the castle map looks very similar to Metroid.
mm,
Yeah, because in the original games, they used to take place outside the castle, like not just in the castle, but also outside and around the area. Whereas the more recent games, like Symphony of the Night, only take place in the castle.
yeah, it says it's a subgenre of action adventure. It's a portmanteau of the series Metroid and Castlevania. Metroid games use game design and mechanics that are similar to games from these two series. Yeah, so I got into Metroid when I was a kid, and so I've just always been I always played like Metroid Fusion, Metroid Zero Mission, um, Super Metroid, Metroid or Samus Returns. That's the one I have now is Samus Returns for the 2DS.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I watched Castlevania, because it was like I knew it was like part of that whole subgenre, but I haven't actually gotten into the Castlevania games except for I actually think it might have been Dawn of Sorrow. I can't remember which one it was.
Oh, okay.
But the show is really great. It was like one of the best anime I've ever watched. It was like really intriguing and mysterious, and the music was uh, really like creepy and good, and it kind of left on a cliffhanger. So really excited to see if they do a season two. I think they are doing a season two. It was only 4 episodes though, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I didn't see that. I mean, I'm kind of annoyed because My Hero Academia was on Netflix, but then they took it off because Netflix basically likes to fuck with its users, like any other popular thing. Where it's like, I mean, it's getting annoying. Where it's like their material is really going to crap. Where they have trouble keeping hold of the rights to
Well, they
the
have
stuff that people want.
literally thousands of anime on Netflix though, so there's definitely no
Yes, but it's
shortage
not
of
the one I
anime.
was looking for.
Yeah, I understand that. But Hulu might have the one you're talking about. I
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
Cowboy Bebop and Trigun on Hulu.
yeah, I don't, I need. I could get Hulu. It's just I think I just need to wait until I move somewhere else where I do that
Hmm.
because I also want to get a new computer because this computer's been slowing down.
Yeah, I just use my parents' Hulu.
Yeah, but like I said, I heard My Hero Academia is pretty good. Actually, it's a really good one. It's like one of those. It's like one of their very good superhero shows
Yeah,
next to like
Underground
One
Geek used to
Punch
always
Man.
talk about it.
Yeah, because I haven't seen One Punch Man's on Netflix, so I might watch sometime too.
Oh yeah, I love One Punch Man. I love that one. It's so good.
Yeah. One interesting, I like how I one of the things I find interesting about the Japanese superhero genre is how like they kind of like the government kind of like enforces the superheroes, whereas Americans are more libertarian in how superheroes act. Because superheroes are very libertarian at their heart in America, where they don't follow the government's rules for most of them. They kind of are doing their own thing. Whereas Japan, it's
Wait.
all structured.
Oh yeah.
Because like I think My Hero Academia and One Punch Man, like they're all registered by like the government to get jobs as superheroes.
Oh shit.
I think that's
Sounds.
true. Yeah,
Hmm.
because it makes sense. So I think yeah, most superhero, like most of like the Tatsunoko, like all those superhero, yeah, like animes and like live action shows, like Power Rangers that are in Japan. I think a lot of times they might actually be like have some association with the government or something like that, unless it's some type of like alien force or something like Sailor Moon.
Mm.
Yeah, but like in America, we're just more libertarian. So I guess superheroes tend to be more independent and not have any affiliation with the government.
Yeah. Well, except for the whole Civil War.
Well, Civil War, that's, I mean, a lot of people hate that story anyway, but I mean, it was decent. It's just, it was one of those stories that I think didn't need to like affect the continuity that it did, so it pissed a lot of people off.
I didn't really care about it when it came out, and I was even more annoyed
Well,
that there was a Civil War too. Like that's so
well,
annoying.
Civil War essentially is the reason why like one more day happened. It's like a fallout because like
Wait,
because he realized like
Spider-Man one more day?
yeah, because see, because one more day is he made a deal with Mephisto to bring back out May and sacrifice his relationship. That's like that was one more day, wasn't that right?
Yeah, the Joe Quesada.
Yeah, he got rid. Yeah, he broke up his relationship because he wanted that was because he wanted to bring Aunt May back to life. And see, she
Mhm.
died because of Civil War. Because in Civil War, he revealed his identity and she got killed, like she got shot.
Yeah, I didn't read One More Day. I've just read about it.
Yeah, he made a deal with the devil to bring back his aunt,
Hmm.
and yeah, the cost was his relationship because
Yeah,
Mephisto is all about screwing people over.
I like Spider-Man Reign. That was a good uh, alternative Spider-Man story. Did you read that one?
No, I did not read. I don't really read Spider Man. I just follow just a couple of the stories that people are talking about. Don't really read it.
It's good. It's like The Dark Knight Returns for Spider-Man. He's like super old.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually not that big of a fan of Spider Man just because I just feel like the whole people talking about how he's relatable. Just I just don't find that as a selling point because like
I
everyone
don't
says, oh,
like
he can't.
Dan Slott Spider-Man.
I don't like Spider Man in general, just because mainly because it's like everyone talks about how he's so relatable and all about his struggle to pay rent and all that stuff, and it's like, why do I need to read about that? That's like something you experience. I just feel like a lot of his fans tend to either have not had very much like real life experiences that they need to like live this stuff through a comic book, or they just think that that's like what grabs you is the relatability, and that's not how I get into a comic book.
So then you probably don't like Sideways.
I haven't even read Sideways, so I'm not sure.
Oh, it's good, but it seems like you probably won't like it if you don't like Spider-Man.
We'll have to see. I mean, it's DC. Like, I'm a huge DC fan. I'm not really into Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, try it out. You could watch my reviews or pick up the first issue. I mean, the first issue is probably sold out, so your best bet's to watch my
Yeah,
reviews.
yeah. Or I can just read it online for free.
Oh
'Cause
yeah,
I'm gonna try doing. If I'm gonna review a bad book, I'm probably just gonna read it online for free. So it's like, hey, that's an fu to the company because I'm not giving them money.
yeah. But Sideways is good. It's
Pirating.
it's really good comic.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I mean, so I mean, a character if it's similar to Spider-Man doesn't instantly mean I'm not gonna like it. It's just I would prefer if it doesn't have the same amount of melodrama. Then yeah, I think I might like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a good comic. Like I don't want to
Yeah,
spoil it
see,
for you.
yes, I guess for me, Spider-Man is just kind of like the technicality and kind of the logic behind the fact that he has trouble making money despite having all those powers. I just for me, it's like if a person has good superpowers, they shouldn't be poor. Because when I write a story, I make sure my character. I always look at their powers to determine whether or not they're going to be poor or not.
Wait, what do you mean?
like he has a lot of powers that are really good. Like he has superhuman strength. He can climb on walls. He can
Oh,
jump
Spider
far. He
Man.
can shoot web. So I just feel like him being poor was ridiculous in itself, especially
Okay.
since he's also a genius.
Well, he wanted to make money off his powers, but then his uncle Ben died, so he obviously
Well,
learned
yeah,
that that's not a good idea.
yeah. I still feel like just cutting off, like not using your powers. I just feel like that's kind of like I don't know. That's taking it a little too far. I mean, it's
Hmm.
one thing to try and profit, but if it's something reasonable, like say I'm using my powers to do photography and all that stuff, which he technically does because that's how he gets his job is taking pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's just I just feel like yeah, it's just feel like given everything, I just don't think he should be poor. So for me, when I write a story, if a character has a lot of good superpowers, then they aren't
I
going
mean,
to be
I
poor.
don't think Peter Parker is really poor. He's more middle class.
Well, he's not poor anymore. It's just in his early runs he was poor.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
I
the
mean,
runs that
he's more just
everyone
like a
raves.
struggling college student, though. That's pretty
Yeah,
normal.
the
Not
runs
really
that
like
people rave
poor.
about.
Like
Yeah,
I feel like poor is more like a homeless person or like someone who
well, if you have trouble paying
I
your
don't know.
rent, you're kind of poor, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you have trouble, yeah, keeping out from going homeless, yeah, I think he was technically poor when he was having trouble paying his rent. But yeah, so I mean, Spider-Man, yeah, so Spider-Man's fine. Like I watched the movies. Like the movies were fun to watch. Yeah,
Which ones?
the original with Tobey Maguire. He's my favorite Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. I like
I
the
know.
first two. The third one pretty much let me down.
Yeah, well, it was kind of rushed. It wasn't. It wasn't. The studio forced the director to do all that stuff, so they didn't let him do his own thing.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
like that they had the snowboard goggle new goblin.
you mean oh yeah, you talking about like Harry Gob
And
yeah.
I didn't like that 70s show Venom either.
You mean the actor who played Eddie Brock or just the design for Venom?
Uh the actor, the design was all right. Mostly just the
Yeah, oh,
actor.
so you think the actor should have been more muscular? Because I know Eddie Brock
It just
apparently
should
is
have been a different
jacked.
guy altogether. He should have been a bully, like a really buff bully. They should have made him like totally different actor. It should have been like the actor that played Flash Thompson.
Oh, you mean the original movies?
Yeah, you were talking. We were talking about the
Yeah,
Venom guy who played Venom. It should have
yeah.
been the guy who played Flash Thompson,
Okay.
and he's
Yeah, sorry. I thought at
the
first I
guy
thought
that's Deathstroke.
for a second, yeah, for a second I thought you were talking about the latest Spider-Man movie with like the Indian guy or the Spanish guy.
God, I don't like Millennial Spider-Man. That's just like
Yeah, you mean
I don't know. There were some
Homecoming?
cool
Yeah,
parts of that
Homecoming.
movie. Yeah, there were some cool parts to that movie, and it was fun. But like, I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of a lot of the millennial
Oh
tropes.
well, yeah. I can see what you're talking about. Like, I did not like the actor who played Spider-Man. I thought his balls kind of dropped. Like, he's supposed to be 15 years old, and he sounds like he's still 12. He doesn't
He's
sound right. Yeah.
he's definitely the Amazing Spider Boy.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like yeah, he's supposed to be 15, and yet he just sounds like he's 12. It just doesn't make any sense really because I think a 15-year-old would have a deeper voice than that. He even
Yeah.
looks like he's 12, but he doesn't even look like he's 15. He looks way too young.
Did you see the new Infinity War trailer?
I only saw the first trailer, the one where like everyone makes fun of what Thanos looks like, so he looks like Homer Simpson.
What?
That's
Oh,
the
oh,
first trailer
yeah.
where
I get
everyone was
your yeah,
popping, making memes featuring Homer Simpson, saying Thanos without his helmet looked
yeah.
really cheesy. Yeah.
I was gonna make fun of Peter Parker, but I don't want to spoil the trailer for you.
Well, I don't care. Probably not going to watch Infinity War because again, there's just way too many
At the
movies and they're
end,
so expensive. Yeah.
Doctor Strange and Peter are standing there, and Peter's in the Spider-Man costume, but he has his mask off, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Peter Parker," and Doctor Strange is like, "I'm Doctor Strange," and then Peter's like, oh, we're using our made up names. Well, I'm Spider-Man. And I was just like, okay. That was
Yeah,
a
that's
Chip Zdarsky joke.
yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that sounds like that's Marvel making lame jokes again. Because like it's like whenever there's like nothing really to say, they'll pop a joke. It just to me, it
Yeah,
sounds like they don't have anything to write, basically. And I'm just kind of getting sick and tired of all of these the incessant need for humor.
yeah, and then there was another joke between Tony Stark and Chris Pratt. He was like, Tony Stark like said his plan, and Tony was like, "Okay, so that's a good plan, except for that it sucks, and we should use my plan." And I was just like, "Okay,
Yeah, it's just yeah, it just seems very childish and immature. It's like this movie is basically just for like teenagers and stuff.
yeah, uh, it's kind of weird because it comes out on my birthday, so I'm
Yeah,
like, I'll probably go see it, but I wish that there was a DC movie at the beginning of this year, but I have to wait
yeah.
till
See,
November for
that's
Aquaman."
that's one of the things I kind of that's one of the things I'm kind of hoping that DC doesn't just copy Marvel and they actually try to have some tone movies, that variety, you know, because I don't mind the darker tone films. I just feel like some variety would be great. Like, Captain Marvel is going to have a lighter tone because, it's, Captain Marvel. He's like a kid who transforms into an adult.
Oh,
So that makes
Shazam, yeah.
sense. Well, that's his name, Captain Marvel.
No, they
I don't
changed it
really.
to Shazam.
Yeah, I'm calling Captain Marvel because that's what he's originally called, and he's the first. So,
Oh, but you know they changed it, right?
well, of course I know it changed it. I just think it's stupid that everyone called him Captain Marvel until like the New 52 when they changed it to Shazam.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense.
It's just trademark. They changed it because they couldn't trademark the name because of like Marvel, but they could still
Mm-hmm.
use the name. They just couldn't be on the cover of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, so I just call him Captain Marvel because they've been calling him that only like basically, like up until 2011, they've been calling him Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I don't like the casting choice for that. I wish it was a buff Hawaiian guy or a buff Asian guy, but instead
What?
it's a skinny white dude.
Wait, really? Because Captain Marvel is like he's white.
Is he?
Yeah, he's white. He's always been white.
I don't
He,
know. If you look at the Ed McGuinness drawings for him, he looks like he's I don't know
yeah,
what he is, but he
I think that's just that's an old school drawing. I know back in the old days he was drawn to have very squinty eyes. It's not because he's Asian. It's just that's how people drew people back. That's how people drew comic book characters back then. It's like same thing with Superman. Like Superman used to have very squinty eyes,
yeah,
like
that makes
decades
sense.
ago. It's just the old style drawing. But no, he's meant to be white.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess I just don't like the. I guess they could have. I feel like they could have gotten a different actor that is more buff and just looks more like classic. Rather, I feel like the guy that plays him is too wide eyed and skinny.
That's actually interesting because this costume looks very like like the actual costume. It's not
Yeah,
very
but I'm
different.
worried that it's all costume and not actually his body.
Well, that could be a thing. I mean, they also, could also CGI enhance it.
Yeah, I just wish they would get a guy that's actually buff. That's all.
Well, the thing is, you can get a guy that's buff, but if he can't act, then looking the part's not gonna look good if the lines are delivered poorly.
Yeah, I mean
So
they should get a guy who's
yeah,
buff and can act.
yeah, but then the pool is kind of limited because you have to decide who can look the part, who can do that. Yeah,
Well, I'm talking about they could get a guy who's just normally pretty like well built, and then he built bulks up for the role, like kind of like what Ben Affleck did. But I feel like Chuck
yeah.
is like a kind of a random choice. But that my opinion could change if they come out with a really cool trailer. But I'm just saying, as of right now, the set photos, I'm not that impressed with him as Shazam. The costume's cool though. I like the costume.
Yeah. Yeah. Likes to, yeah, because I know some people are saying, oh, it looks like some people said the costume looked cheesy, but it's kind of like, well, that's kind of what his original costume looks like.
Yeah, I don't think it's cheesy. I think it looks cool.
Yeah. But yeah, what else? Well, I'm excited to see the Aquaman film. I mean, it sounds like they are going to be shooting Suicide Squad 2, like that's going to happen, and I'm hoping that they go into production with like Justly Dark because I've been following that for like a while.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so yeah, I think you just need to get a director and stuff and hire the actors, and it should be fine.
Yeah, I wish that Guillermo del Toro was still directing it.
Yeah, well, he's kind of busy directing other stuff. I don't think they're ever going to give him like at the Mountains of Madness because I know he wants to do like an H.P. Lovecraft movie, but they're probably not going to give him the go ahead for that because that would cost I think a lot of money because it's H.P. Lovecraft.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So what comics did you get this week?
I just got I only got one, which is Red Hood the Outlaws.
Oh yeah, I picked that up too.
Yeah, I don't know why people complain. I mean, people. I know a lot of people hated on the first series in the New 52, but that's just mainly people who were offended by Starfire being sexual, which I just think is stupid.
Wait, what? Oh, the New 52?
The New 52 Red Hood, where everyone was complaining that Starfire was like misogynistic or something like that. Because she
Wait,
looks sexy.
Starfire was in Red Hood and the Outlaws?
Yeah, didn't you read the New 52?
No.
Oh, wait, you didn't follow New 52?
I mean like Batman and like Superman, some of like the main titles, but I didn't follow like
Oh,
fucking
and you follow the
Lobo.
other ones. Like
What?
Justly Dark was good. You didn't follow Justly Dark. That was a
No,
great
I
title.
wasn't even I was doing other things when the New 52 was out. I was reading Marvel comics. I mean, I did read some of the New 52 DC comics, but I wasn't as into comics. I mean, I wasn't like buying as many comics back then as I do now, if that makes sense. I was like dating a girl and working and going to school. I was like doing a lot of other things.
So the thirst is real.
Uh, what do you mean?
Oh, the joke, dating a girl and stuff. The thirst is real.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely happier when I had a girlfriend, but
Yeah, yeah. It's the term thirsty. Like guys who are really desperate to like get attention or get girlfriends and stuff. It's like a joke. Yeah.
I'm not desperate. I don't know what you mean. I'm confused.
I was just making a joke.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. You ever watch Roosh V?
No, what's that?
You know her Roosh V? Like he's like the pickup artist.
No. I've seen some pickup artists, but not. I don't know
Okay,
the one
well,
you're talking about.
Rushvi is like notorious because like he's one of the founders of the website Return of Kings. I'm not sure you heard of that website.
Mm-mm.
It's considered like basically it's a website that probably feminists hate the most because it's kind of like considered like the ultimate misogynistic website because it basically talks about like male authority, like it's very male centric basically, and feminists hate that. And yeah, he's really controversial. So he's a pickup artist, and he recently like several weeks ago did a stream talking about the whole trad thought phenomenon in the right wing movement. He had like Laura Loomer and like a couple other people on there to discuss things. It was pretty funny. And
That's funny.
he also ended up on Andy Wartsky's stream, like getting into a debate with Lauren Southern. So it was
Oh,
like a
really?
shit show. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Oh yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was like, yeah, like he opened his opening statement was like, I'm gonna say this right now, there's no point in debating a woman and stuff. It's like ridiculous, yeah. Yeah, he's pretty edgy and stuff.
That's funny.
Yeah, but there's a lot of, I mean, well, there's a lot of edge lords and like a lot of different movements. Like Homoskate has its edgy people, like Weaponized Nerd Rage.
Are you there? You keep cutting out.
Hello?
You keep cutting out.
Hello, am I still cutting out?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
That's weird. It's my yeah, my it looks like it says my audio's going through.
Yeah, and it's you keep cutting out like I can hear like every like fifth word, but it's working now.
Okay. But like I said, I was saying is that there are some edge lords in Comicsgate.
Oh yeah.
like kind of like weaponizing her rage, just kind of like our edgelord.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you kind of talked about us not having drama and stuff, but it's like you're kind of posting edgy tweets, which is going to incite people like complaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
it's
think
kind of
he's funny
hypocritical.
though. He's a pretty funny troll.
He's funny at times. There's just other times in which it's kind of like I don't know, like it's like he tries to be controlled with his like with his like edgy tweets, but again, when you tweet stuff like that, you're going to basically inevitably be unable to to basically paint yourself in a good light with stuff like that. It's like don't expect people to treat you, like you're not edgy when you post edgy tweets.
Yeah. I
Like
don't
I
know.
don't mind edgy
Doesn't really
tweets.
bother me.
I don't mind edgy stuff. It's just, it's just there are people who try to make it seem like they're not edgy, like they're trying to be in denial. So it just seems
Yeah.
dishonest. I just mean if you're gonna be edgy, be honest about it and don't try to like sell yourself as something more, so like you're not an edgy person.
Hmm.
Because I just can't like really stand dishonesty when it comes to
Yeah.
stuff like that. Because there's some people like who will
Yeah,
make
that's
politically
understandable.
incorrect jokes and then they try to basically play innocent or something like that. Like they'll try to back out and stuff.
Hmm.
It's like DNC has done that a couple of times where he basically will say something politically incorrect and then try to say, well, I'm not really into that stuff or back out. And it kind of just it makes him kind of look inconsistent. Like you can't really trust him.
I guess I haven't seen him do that.
Well, you just don't follow the Twitter drama.
Hmm. Yeah, he
Yeah.
does get a little buck wild on Twitter.
Well, everyone's buck wild on Twitter basically because I think Twitter, yeah, people are responding to tweets easier, whereas YouTube, you have to make a video.
Yeah, true.
Because I mean, my YouTube account is mainly comic book related, but on Twitter, I post more political tweets than really comic book tweets. So it's kind of like the opposites.
Yeah, I just on my YouTube I just post comic book stuff. Sometimes on my
I want to
vlogs, I mean,
expand more on
on
my.
on my on my comic book channel, sometimes I'll talk about some political things going on but not very often.
I know it sounds lame, but I might start posting music videos. I know back in the early days of YouTube, like in 2006, it was like that shit was really popular to post, those music videos.
Music videos? What do you mean?
Like how people would take clips from anime and then do play a song over it, over the
Oh
clips.
yeah.
Yeah, back in the old days of YouTube, that was like the most popular thing because, YouTube, you could only have like 10 minutes worth of video time. You couldn't go above 10
Hmm.
minutes. So, doing music videos was like the main thing to do and stuff, to show your
Yeah.
fandom. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
old
like
school
I like
YouTube.
that.
Today, it's not as much anymore.
I've seen a lot of those. The anime with the rap music over the like dubbed over it. I've seen a lot of that.
I guess you're right. Yeah. I just remember back when I first got on YouTube, that was super popular. Those were like the first YouTube videos I was doing, yeah, music videos featuring anime characters.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, because I miss the old days of YouTube because I mean YouTube was political, I guess, but most of YouTube was basically a bunch of flame wars. Like it was essentially like the console like fanboys hating each other, and then like the anime fanboys hating each other and stuff. So there's like all these different flame wars.
Hmm.
That was fun. So people weren't. So there were a couple occasional people claiming racism, I guess, but most of the time people just brushed it off and stuff. It's like, yeah, that's bullshit and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I know like one guy bashed like the anime Bleach. I'm not sure if you heard of Bleach.
Yeah, I know Bleach.
Yeah, so he hated Bleach and made a video like listing all the reasons why he hates it and stuff. So a bunch of people got angry at him and started calling him a racist and stuff.
What?
Yeah, I know, because some people like when you don't like their favorite anime or don't like anime in general, some people accuse you of being a racist for some ridiculous reason, and he just like brushed it off and called them retarded.
That's funny.
Yeah. I like how he opens the video off with like, wait, what do you get when you cross a pedophile father, crap Japanese stories, and a giant source to make up for the shortcomings of male. Bleach.
I guess I've only seen it. I've only seen a few episodes of Bleach, so I don't know I don't
I have not
understand.
seen. I've only seen one episode of Bleach, and it didn't really hook me. It just a lot of people said it was basically like Dragon Ball Z, but with supernaturals and swords, kind of like very action oriented,
Yeah, no, I remember
like not
it
much
being like that,
story.
but
Basically, while it was running, there was a huge flame war between Bleach fans and Naruto fans. Like they were like clashing a lot because I was basically a Naruto fan back then, so that was like my main show.
yeah, I've only seen a few episodes of that one too.
Well, you
I
never
just
seen
saw a
Naruto?
girl with a. I mean, I've seen like one or two episodes. I just saw a girl with a Naruto tattoo on her arm the other day.
Oh yeah, I mean the series has ended, but I don't know. It's just it was really fun. I mean, you should. It's on Netflix. I'm pretty sure still, so you should check it out. Like
Hmm.
basically, the best arc in my opinion is the Chunin exam arc, which is basically like season two, if I remember correctly. It's like the second story arc after the first one. Like everyone loves the first arc, but like yeah, that the Chunin exam arc is definitely the best part of Naruto. Like that's where they introduce a lot of common characters that you see that you'll see throughout the rest of the series. And the storyline I thought was really good. And it has a really good amount of action too.
I don't know. I don't like watching anime about like young kids or high schoolers or junior hires. Like I don't know. For some reason, it bothers
So
me.
you didn't watch like Dragon Ball then, where he's young?
Well, that to me is different because he's like a literal child. I'm talking about like a preteen or a teenager.
Oh, so you don't. Sorry, you don't like teenage. So you don't like fiction with teenagers.
Not I don't dislike it. Like I like Teen Titans, but I'm just saying it's not my favorite. Like I don't like okay, like for
Do you like?
example,
So okay, well, technically, some of them are not. I mean, they're not. They're like 12 and 11 years old in Naruto at that time.
yeah, see I don't like watching anime about kids like that age. Like I think that's the same reason why I stopped watching Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay, so okay, because in Dragon Ball, I think he's around the same age as Naruto. Like he looks young, but I think that's just like a Saiyan thing because Saiyans have a very weird maturity thing where between when they're little kids to when they're like 15 or 16, they look like little kids, like they're very little, and then they have a huge growth spurt where they become adults. It's like a crazy like yeah growth spurt.
Yeah, it says he's like 11. I guess it says he's
At the beginning, yeah, Dragon Ball, he's like 11, and then he still looks that way even when he's like 15 or something.
yeah. Dragon Ball is kind of different, and I'm not even against like anime or fiction with like young characters like that. I just don't like I just don't like how most anime are about high school students or like or teenager like I don't or
Yeah, like
preteens like I
young
don't, it
people.
kind of irks me.
Well, I think it's just because
Yeah, I just
they're trying to appeal to their audience because most anime I think is watched by teenagers and also kids in Japan. Because like Naruto is a
yeah
kid show in Japan, basically. That's what like yeah, young kids like kids between the ages of like 9 and 13 watch.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still getting into manga and anime, so like I'm just still trying to get through Dragon Ball. Like I've seen like probably like 15
I know
episodes
you
of
saw
Dragon
Super, but
Ball.
you gotta watch Dragon Ball Z. That's where it's
No,
at.
I know.
That's what
That's what I
everyone.
was gonna say. I've seen like a few episodes of Dragon Ball Z, a few episodes of GT. I've seen like 10
Oh,
episodes of
you gotta
Super
watch.
and like 15 episodes of Dragon Ball.
Okay, you gotta watch all of Z. I mean, you don't have to watch Dragon Ball. You can just watch Dragon Ball Z because that's kind of what I did. So it's like Dragon Ball Z. It's like freaking amazing.
Yeah, I
Like
just can't
Frieza.
find it anywhere. Like I watched Dragon
There
Ball
are
on Hulu,
DVDs.
but
There is DVDs. Like you might have
no,
to
I
just
know.
buy the DVDs. Yeah.
I meant streaming it, but yeah.
Streaming, yeah, you might have to buy the DVDs unless you're going to go to like a website and watch it on your computer. But
That's what I
like,
usually do for Dragon Ball Super.
I know people. There is Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is like
Yeah,
the redub, like the
I know.
remake of it.
I wanted to get that. That's what I've kind of been waiting for. Actually, is that?
See, I don't like Dragon Ball Z Kai because they changed around some of the voice actors and the soundtrack is different. Like there are some good scenes in it, but as a whole, I like the original. I mean, have you seen the original Dragon Ball Z, like fun animation dub?
Just a few episodes.
Like he has Bruce Falconer, the soundtrack. I'm not you know the one with the legendary soundtrack.
Yeah, I don't know it that well. I've just seen a few episodes.
Okay, I don't know. Have you heard the Super Saiyan soundtrack?
I mean, if I heard it, I would recognize it probably, but I don't know for sure.
Okay, look, I can post link in the chat basically to it because yeah, it's over on
Is it just the theme song?
it's the theme song for Super Saiyan basically. It's in the original Dragon Ball Z English dub. When he first transforms.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. Never mind.
Oh,
Yeah,
so you've heard the theme then?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, and it's like uh okay, so you're sure it's not Kai, right? Because I know Kai the
No,
soundtrack
no,
is
no. I
different.
haven't seen Kai yet.
Oh, you haven't. Okay, so what you're watching is the actual original DBZ dub.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've seen. Yeah.
Okay, because Kai is basically polished, like the animation has been polished, to look
Mm-hmm.
more modern, whereas DBZ looks like the original, like
Mm-hmm.
old school animation. But yeah, so I watched a bit of Kai. It's like it's okay, but I feel like DBZ, the original dub, was a little more violent, especially when it came over in Toonami, because when it premiered on Toonami, it was yeah, like Toonami used to be on the weekdays like around that time, like right at between prime time and like after kids
Yeah,
get
I
out of
remember.
school. Yeah, that
I
was like
remember
really
that.
great. Like the censorship was low because there was like yeah they were more lenient with what was shown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whereas for kids they censored the. Now it's now only on Saturday at night on Adult Swim, which just really sucks because the original Toonami was like always on like I think Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, you could literally go home from school, do your homework, and then turn on Toonami and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, totally. I
it's
remember
like
that.
that's what the block should have been. It should have been like at least on like if they wanted to just be one day, they should have had it on a weekday, like from like 4 to 7 or something like that. Like between that, yeah, time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me it was a no brainer. But instead they put it on yeah Saturday night where it's like you're like no kid is gonna stay up super late, and I think very few adults I think want to stay up super late for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they really screwed up with when they brought back Toonami.
Did you watch the old Gennady Tartakovsky Star Wars Clone Wars?
The 2D one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. I was not
Yeah,
big.
I
I
like.
was not a fan of the Clone Wars, the later series,
Me
because that
too. I
I'm a
felt the
huge
same
fan.
way.
I'm a huge fan of the expanded universe, and a lot of people hated how that kind of fucked with continuity. And then Disney bought out Star Wars, and then screwed over the EU. So that also pissed me off too.
Yeah, I agree. I like the original one better.
Yeah, I mean, do you want read? Did you read the expanded universe?
No.
Well, there's a website called Wikipedia. There's like two Wikipedias now. Like, there's the expanded universe Wikipedia with the original continuity, and then there's like the new continuity Wikipedia.
Yeah.
There's like two now, basically. But yeah, I like spent hours and hours years ago going over that. So it really got me into the expanded universe, learning about like all the other stories in Star Wars. Because there's like tons of video games, books, and all sorts of expanded medium.
Mm-hmm.
There's also comics, like the Dark Horse comics are pretty good.
Yeah, I have. I've been picking up the Charles Soule Darth Vader comics, and I got the first issue of Thrawn.
Okay, so you should definitely check out. So you should definitely check out the like the Tales of the Jedi comic. It's an old comic, so it's hard to come by, but it's pretty good. And you should also check out the Knights of the Old Republic comic that came out like 10 years
From Dark
ago.
Horse.
Dark Horse, yeah, yeah. Basically, these are the Dark Horse Star Wars comics because they're
Yeah,
part of the original EU.
I'll probably pick up the trades. Yeah.
Okay, it's easier to find the Knights of the Republic trades compared to Tales of the Jedi, so that should be easier to find. But
Mm.
yeah, Knights of the Republic, that's a good book comic. Oh, did you ever
Yeah,
play the
I've
games
heard
like
that
Knights
one's
of the
good.
Republic?
Uh, like maybe at friends' houses, but I never like owned
It's
them.
on Steam. You can get both the original and the sequel on Steam now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're both on Steam. But yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to play them yet, but I've watched videos on them and they're like really good. Like the first game is considered one of the best, like yeah, RPGs.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like really, it's like basically, it's like you know they choose the whole, you know, like how there's stories with the morality choices where it's like you can choose to be do good things and bad things.
Yeah.
So in that, it basically will affect how if you're going to go to the light side or dark side and how the story will progress.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could literally mold your character to be either Jedi or Sith.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I always thought that was pretty cool. How you can like yeah
I
choose.
heard about that game. My brother told me about it. I want to play it, but I don't have a game system. I just have a Nintendo 2DS.
Well, if you have a computer that's like not terrible, then yeah, you could probably just download it on Steam.
Oh
Because yeah,
yeah,
it was
that's
yeah
true.
it was for PC as well as like yeah the Xbox.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, I remember it being for the.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just a cool thing. Is but like yeah, back on the subject of anime, it's like yeah, if you're watching the original Dragon Ball Z, then that's really good because yeah, like the first arc is good. I mean, I liked it, but for me, like Dragon Ball Z becomes excellent when you get to the Namek saga when they go into space. And like from then on, I like all the arcs, like the next arc, and then like the Buu saga.
Yeah, I know it sounds backwards, but I think I'm gonna finish Dragon Ball Super before I watch Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, since the context might be confusing then, because like I feel like
Really?
well, yeah, because a lot of characters who you won't I mean, they might give you a rundown of the history, but there's like it seems like in Super there are a lot of characters that appeared in Dragon Ball Z, with their stones, like with the storyline.
Yeah, but like, like, does it like reference stuff from Dragon Ball Z?
I have not watched Super, so I'm not sure. All I know is that there are characters that appeared in Dragon Ball Z that appear in Super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't really been confused so far. It's been pretty.
Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, but like I said, yeah. Basically, there's like the Namek saga, the Android saga, the Cell saga, and then there's like the
Yeah.
Boo saga. So those are like yeah the best sagas in Dragon Ball Z in my opinion.
Do you have like a recommendation for which website to watch Dragon Ball Z on?
I have never watched Dragon Ball Z on a website. Like I collected a huge amount of tapes when I was younger, like when I was living with my parents. So that's how I watched Dragon Ball Z. I never watched online. So the only thing I
Yeah.
suggest was basically like yeah, just buying a DVD because they did have a DVD set for like yeah the Dragon Ball Z series. They're like orange box sets basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So there's that. But other than that, yeah, I never watched it online. Like Naruto, I think, and Hunter x Hunter were like the only animes that I watched online, really, and a couple others
Would you
actually.
watch them on?
It was some website. I'm not sure if it's still around, but it was like years ago. I don't remember this name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Um, well,
but
I
oh, what?
I gotta charge my phone, so I probably gotta go. But it was good talking. And when are you doing your next stream?
Well, it's every Saturday.
Oh, that's right,
You aren't
every Saturday.
you aren't by an
You,
outlet to charge your phone.
no, I don't like to do that because it actually kills the battery when you use your phone at the same time as charging it.
Oh, really?
And I have like a bunch of stuff to. I have a lot of stuff to do, anyways. But
Okay.
oh, looks like Florence is here,
Oh,
so
sweet. I
perfect
can keep
timing.
going.
Yeah,
Okay.
There you go.
yeah,
Okay.
So
Okay. So, anyway, Super Dark. It was nice having you on here for a bit.
yeah, I gotta charge my phone and do some stuff. So thanks for having me. I'll probably
Yes.
talk to you next Saturday.
Yeah, probably. Let's hope Ricardo comes back.
Yeah, definitely. All right,
Yeah.
thanks for having me. Later.
Yeah, peace out. Oh, hey, Florence. How's it going?
good. I over well, took a nap earlier, but I thought I was gonna just take like an hour or so, but I kind of overslept.
That's fine. Yeah, so, yeah, how are things going?
Good so far.
Okay, yeah, so it looks like, I mean, I messaged Walt, but I guess, yeah, he was busy, and Ricardo couldn't come in today because, yeah, I guess he's doing his taxes late, so that's screwy, but, yeah. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, anything interesting news happened lately?
Um, Let me see. I think I had this. Oh, I actually kind of wanted to say that when I was actually reading the first issue of Iceman, to be honest, I looking back on it, it's not as bad. It's just that the biggest thing about it is that it's kind of I kind of went in with the expectation that that I wanted to Iceman kind of thinking that, because of his history with the X-Men, he'd be a lot more stoic, more mature, more that he, well, not like Cyclops, but that he'd be more you know, he'd
Uh,
be he'd be
this is
kind of
gay
like
Iceman.
an oh what?
This is gay Iceman series, like the gay Iceman series.
Yeah, that I figured that with his history with the X-Men that he'd probably be more stoic or more
Yeah, see,
um yeah.
people's main problem with the comic book was mainly the fact that they literally he isn't Bobby Drake. He's like, even if he's gay, his personality is just nuts. It's just completely different. It's not the same character basically. Like
Um
he's like he's more selfish. He's very immature and almost kind of like gives off almost sociopathic like tendencies.
I kind of got the vibe that they were kind of writing the original, like when Bobby Drake was a teenager, but that this was a teenager in a grown man's body, which, kind of,
Yes,
yeah,
but that's not really what Ice Bobby is. Like Bobby's not like someone who's super immature. He's like a very mature, kid.
yeah,
Yeah, I just feel like, they could have basically named it given they could have literally just, changed him around and renamed him and like he would have not been the same character.
yeah, pretty much. Like,
Yeah, it's like yeah, it could have been they should have just made an original character basically, given how much they changed him.
yeah, I still actually have to read the other, was it 12 issues to kind of, because
Yeah, you have
kind
to
of,
read the comic, the one that made DNC, blow up and stuff.
hmm.
That's number
Yeah.
6.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna probably have to get on reading that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like champions assemble. Yeah, I know. It's like yeah, it's like he literally couldn't get through the entire sentence and like threw the comic book away and stuff.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's like just so stereotypically gay and stuff. It's just you'd think that people would cry homophobia if a straight guy was like, yeah, writing the comic book.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of but I know that all gay people don't really act the same, that there are some gay people who are a lot more like like you can
A
really
lot
tell
more
they're
like regular. Like they talk like, everyone else, like regular heterosexuals.
yeah, it's just that it's kind of bizarre that Marvel they made Iceman their first mainstream superhero gay character and then decided to make him into a stereotype.
Well, that's probably just on the writer's fault. And I think Cena Grace has some he has some sorry, I think he has some insecurity issues and he looks Middle Eastern,
Yeah,
which might actually hint at why he's insecure because, again, Middle Easterners, that's a culture that really has a negative view of homosexuals. So, yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
Milo talks about how he dated, I think, a couple of Muslims, and apparently it's like they have a serious issue with like conflicting their faith and like their sexuality. So it's like they almost sometimes become very abusive, apparently, because
yeah,
like they just can't separate it. Yeah.
yeah. I can understand that, but
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of Sin of Grace, I actually heard he and Mags are going to be working on the Power Rangers. Well, one Power Rangers comic, I think.
Oh, dear.
Oh
Like
yeah.
well, I mean, they each have the color of a rainbow, so I guess that makes sense. But it's probably going to be the most gayest comic of all time and stuff.
Oh man, yeah. I kind of wonder, like, because of like the Pink Ranger thing, if they're gonna have like a guy be the Pink Ranger.
Probably. Yeah, so I've always thought it'd be funny. It's like, yeah, okay. So here's the funny thing is like if a character, if you like, sorry, if there's a character who basically when they say the magic word, you know, like how with like Shazam, he transforms into an adult man who's a
Yeah,
superhero. So like, so let's say if like a girl says a magic word and transforms into an adult man, does that make her trans?
yeah.
It would. I mean, do you think that would count?
Uh, wait.
Trans
The
a little girl transforms into a male superhero.
Oh yeah, maybe yeah.
I
I
thought
would
that would
like
be
to
a
think so.
great idea for a comic book, like just to have like a laugh at that, you know, see if people would actually catch that. I mean, if they caught it, they would be super offended, apparent, of course, but it just would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you have a character that changes races as well, where it's like, hey, yeah, I transform into a black person. Because like the original Black Lightning, apparently he was like originally like a racist who basically when he says a magic word, he transforms into a black superhero.
This was like in the 40s or 60s
I
or
think it was the
something.
70s. It was like the original Black Lightning back like in the 70s before they changed him.
Uh, I,
It
um,
sounds hilarious, actually. Yeah, to have like a racist guy who basically transforms into a black guy.
yeah, I think I need to read that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, what were you about to say?
um, nothing.
Okay. Yeah, right now I'm also trying to decide which NaNoWriMo story I'm gonna go for because like I have options between finishing my trilogy or like actually wanting to write and also write or writing a swords and sorcery novel because I haven't written a fantasy novel in like years for NaNoWriMo.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Uh, NaNoWriMo, that's just like you're kind of gonna do that like this year, or you're still
Well,
continuing that?
well, I finished last year because you know it's like you hit 50,000 words and it's over.
Uh, yeah, because well, I don't really know, but they have like different. They have different challenges every month. It's not
Yeah,
really.
it's like
Yeah,
Camp NaNoWriMo or something.
yeah. I think I'd probably stick with if you kind of can't really do the same thing every month. I guess like sticking to NaNoWriMo. That's that's probably the best way to go.
Yes. Well, it's just like it's just trying to decide between continuing a trilogy or like trying something new for this year and finishing a trilogy next year. That's the thing.
Hmm.
Because
Uh.
basically the last 2 years I have been part of a trilogy that I'm writing, which involves like a a superhero.
Hmm. Uh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like a. So you're still on the second book, or you're just almost about to finish it?
Oh well, like I said, I kind of wrap up a story each NaNoWriMo, so essentially I would just have to edit around and add or subtract some scenes from the story to basically finish it and stuff. So it's mainly just editing phase for these books.
Yeah.
Because I always end the book, at 50 at around the 50,000 word not mark. Once I hit 50,000 words, I like then spend like the rest of the page trying to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh.
Because like the first story was the main character like going from his like tropical island in another dimension to our world. And then the second book is basically him basically going through like a hero's test with other young superheroes in like a
Hmm.
virtual world. And the third one is basically them being part of a team, like now forming a team, kind of like Young Justice, just that this is like where it gets like dangerous, where it's basically like let me explain it. It's kind of like I wouldn't call like the Judas Contract or something like that from DC, but it's basically like being like young superheroes on a team, you have to now worry about the consequences of hero work where like people die or people like, get into very dangerous situations, doing hero work. Like it's kind of like,
Yeah,
it's like the kid gloves come off and stuff. It's like it's not a game really anymore.
yeah. That kind of reminds me of the champions from the Marvel right now about how
You mean
like
the good?
Kamala.
You mean the
Uh,
the actual good champions or the very bad one?
it was the champions where Kamala Khan was like, "Oh, we're not going to use unnecessary force." Where like she was kind of, she was like going on this kind of rant that kind of
Oh,
felt like
you mean
police brutality. Yeah,
SJW, right? Okay. Well, it's Kamala Khan, and Kamala Khan, that character is almost beyond salvage.
yeah,
I mean, it's like the only thing that would salvage her character is if she like seriously it's like if she has like a very hard red pill moment where she realizes just how effed up her religion can be and all the people who are being like suffering under it.
yeah.
It's like you're
But
pro, it's like you're pro female and like, support LGBT people and don't realize that, oh yeah, it's part of you're part of a very effed up religion at times that is pretty anti female and LGBT.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I was actually gonna say that whole like, um, the whole consequences thing. I kind of like, uh, I kind of have to read the champions, but yeah, that whole consequences thing, especially with like teenagers who have yet to control their powers. That's actually, it makes more sense that if you can make a team out of teenagers, that there be more consequences because
Yeah, see, the thing is that, well, my main character, he's like 11 years old, so like he's really young. So when I was creating him, I basically planned him to be like I took inspiration from like Goku from the original Dragon Ball series, and basically Tarzan with a bit of what was it? Tarzan with a bit of, what was the third one? I'm trying to remember what it was, but there was a third character inspiration, but that's basically where I got. So like basically Tarzan and Goku kind of take inspiration from like, apes, like monkeys and gorillas. But my character was more inspired by bears, so he's like a bear boy. Like he's
yeah.
a human being that wears animal furs.
That
Yeah.
yeah, that would actually be kind of interesting. But wait, you said it was like a tropical island, but there's like
Well, okay.
bears there.
Sorry. It is basically an island that has multiple environments to it, kind of like there's like a temperate part, then there's kind of like a bit of like a tropical part. So it's like it's basically in another dimension. So it's a very weirdly put together island that has all sorts of
Uh,
animals on it. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. His origin's kind of like with Wonder Woman, where it's like the reverse, where it's like, like a woman like crash lands on the island and he finds her and then she helps him lead back to civilization. So it's like an island in another dimension that's technically located in the Arctic Circle. It's within the Arctic Circle, but in his dimension, it's kind of like basically like a temperate slash tropical environment, depending on what side of the island you're on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
it's it's a weird. It kind of defies the laws of nature.
yeah. So it's kind of like a pocket dimension.
Yeah. I mean, you ever see Bionicles?
I heard about it in middle school. Like I kind of
Oh,
saw it around, but yeah.
did you ever play with the toys? Because they were a toy line.
I think I remember having a few. Yeah.
Okay, well, like how it all takes place on the island. They're just like robots on the island.
Yeah.
Okay, well, on the island, it's basically like, one part of the island is like a jungle, like a tropical forest. Another part is basically like frozen tundra. And then a third part of the island is like a desert. And then a fourth part of the island is like rocks, like mountainous.
Yeah.
And then like a fifth part of the island is like a volcano, like lava and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically kind of what like that's kind of like my main character's island is like, basically, where it's like just multiple environments put onto one
Uh,
island. So it kind of defies
uh,
the laws of nature. Yeah.
yeah, so they're just kind of interlocked somehow. Just it just doesn't kind of like it's never explained how the islands manage to like interlock with each other.
I haven't. I have some idea of how it will be explained. I think the main explanation is just that it's kind of it's in its own pocket dimension, and it's kind of like it's like a think of it kind of like, you know, like how I'm not sure if you play D&D, but have you heard of like the Feywild? It's like a concept in D&D, which I think it's used in mythology where it's like fairies, like fae, like fairies and elves come from like this kind of almost other plane of existence that you can sometimes stumble upon, you know, by accident if you're walking through the woods or falling into a pool.
I play D&D, but I haven't really heard about that.
Okay, so basically, according to the concept of the planes of existence, the Feywild is basically in between the material plane and another plane. So, like, you could accidentally wander into the Feywild, which is where a lot of like elves, fairies, and all sorts of fae hang out.
Uh,
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. That's what the Feywild is. It's kind of like a magical plane where fae kind of originate from.
yeah.
So it's kind of like that, basically, you know.
Yeah. So the first book is just kind of this is kind of like just an assumption that I'm kind of making, but I kind of assume that like the first half of the book is the main character and the girl kind of meeting, and then the second one is him adjusting to civilization.
Actually, yes. Like the first part of the book is like his life on the island. Then he meets the girl, and then they eventually make a journey back to the real world, where it's like, you know, they get on a they get on a boat, and they basically, yeah, like sail back, and once they pass through, it becomes the Arctic Circle again, where it's like freezing cold. And then they basically, yeah, make it back to, yeah, New York City, where they basically, yeah, he goes to like a science institute to like for people to study his special powers because he is like super powered.
Yeah, that sounds pretty interesting.
But yeah,
I mean,
the book ends with him basically having like the League of Superheroes take him under their wing. And then that's when the second book takes place like a few months afterwards, where he basically is training with them, and then they decide to have him go with a bunch of other young superheroes to take like an exam to see how well they would do in like a virtual reality environment, you know, trying to basically encounter dangers. Like it's like a survival test.
oh, it's kind of like the Danger Room, sort of.
Yeah, it's like the Danger Room, basically. It's like, and I was basically when I was writing a story, I kind of took inspiration from Naruto with the Chunin exams, so it's kind of like that. So
Okay.
it's like if the Chunin exams took place in like a Danger Room, like in yeah with DC Comics, then yeah, it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That. So yeah, if you want, you could actually like I don't know if you use Google Docs or anything like that, but
Yeah, I use Open Office.
oh, okay, yeah. If you want, you can actually kind of share that with me. I can probably, or like just share the first book if you want. Like I can probably read it.
Yeah, I might share it sometime. It might look the writing might look bad because you have to speed write everything.
Yeah, totally understand that.
Yeah. So like there are times in which you basically might say the same thing over. I mean, I wouldn't say I said the same thing over and over again. It's just, you know, it's just like, well, one sentence will talk about this and another sentence might talk about it again. So it's like where, you know, you might find different ways to say the same thing again. So that can be a thing. So it makes it seem like the character is stuck on this one instant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah, so yeah, so I might share it. Yeah, I'll probably share it sometime. That's might just want to edit around first, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the second book was fun to write, just because in that book I got to introduce like a lot of different like superheroes, like young superheroes, basically. Like, there's just one character I want to like probably have illustrated at least sometime. Was like his name's like Maga Boy, where he's basically like he's like a young superhero, basically wears like a Trump hat and like wears goggles, and his like main weapon is like an American flag that can bend and stretch and like ensnare people.
Hmm.
Yeah, like he literally can have the flag like lift someone, like ensnare someone, lift them like high up the ground, like smack them into the like he can like he can basically take them, lift them up, and like smack them into the ground from like a great height. Kind of.
What?
You know that movie Rise of the Guardians with like Jack Frost, Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, and the Sandman?
Yeah.
Did you see that movie?
Oh, yeah, I saw that movie.
Okay, you know, like how Sandman has like that, like almost like whip made of sand, like dream dust that like he
Yeah.
grabs night, the boogeyman with, like sends him up to the high and then slams him into the ground.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that basically, but like he uses an American flag. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, and the flag's basically indestructible, so it's like he can like use it to like deflect bullets and stuff. Yeah, so he's
That
kind of
sounds
like
pretty
Captain
cool.
America with like a magic flag. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of, yeah. So he basically, yeah, his costume is basically like he wears kind of like almost like a jumpsuit and stuff, like the like a typical hero costume. But yeah, his aesthetic is that he has the flag and he has like a MAGA cap with like ski goggles or some form of goggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his first team, one of his other teammates was basically a robot who's called Altbot, and his deal is that while his programmers were wanting him to learn like human language and like how humans work with his AI, they made him go on the internet, and he came across 4chan. His AI was corrupted, so he basically is like a super offensive robot. Like he calls
um,
people cucks and stuff, and like yeah, makes all these jokes.
kind of like Ultron, except with
It's
like offensive words and all that.
Yeah, he's not homicidal like Ultron. He just is really annoying. It's like imagine
Yeah.
if Deadpool was a robot and most of his humor was like inspired off of 4chan stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I had like a group of characters that were basically demi titans, like they were like the like children of titans and humans from like Greek mythology. And
Yeah.
one of the characters is a son of Atlas, so he has superhuman strength, so he's really strong. So basically, he gets into a fight. Like he fights Altbot, and when Altbot tries to attack him, he just he just flicks him away, and he like slams into like a wall. It's like Altbot talks trash with him, talking about how he's gonna like bring the pain train on him and stuff, and like take him down. And, yeah, the guy just like flicks his wrist, like backhands him into a wall. Yeah, it was just like an immediate, yeah, into
Yeah.
the fight. Yeah. But yeah, what else? Oh yeah, there was one character I also really like. He was on like my main character's team, which was basically he's called Yellow Jacket. He's essentially like he's kind of like Spider-Man, where he basically has all of the like he has a superpower where he's basically like a yellow jacket, like the Hornet, where
Yeah.
basically he has all the powers. Like he's super agile. He can grow like wings, kind of like the Wasp. He doesn't shrink, but he can like communicate with beasts, and he also like is really quick. Like he basically grows like these like bioorganic stingers. So they're kind of like the same material made up like that makes up bones, but they're but they're like blades. So like uses them to like stab people or stab villains.
Nice.
And then he also can shoot out like basically stingers from like his hands that kind of like do like that like stun people, kind of like how like bee stings can stun people. Like he
Yeah.
calls them like sting bolts, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, his fighting style is kind of similar to Spider-Man, just that he uses more aerial combat because he has the wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what else? Yeah, there are lots of different characters. Like, oh yeah, one of the Demi Titans is like what was it? Oh yeah, she's like the son of like she's the daughter. Sorry, she's the daughter of like the Titan of constellations. So her deal is that she can basically create these like orbs of cosmic energy that kind of look like stars that can like basically like slam into people. So they like do physical damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that. It's like imagine floating orbs that basically can slam into people, and she can like basically have it explode. Like she can have them she can either have them explode or like burst into like dozens of tiny orbs that can like hit people, like bombard people. And she can also like teleport through the orbs. Like she can go through one orb and teleport to the like out another orb, basically. So it's like short range teleportation.
That sounds pretty cool.
Oh yeah, so it's like that. And I'm trying to remember what the third one was. Can't remember. I created characters in groups of 3, like they're all gonna be part of a team. As
Yeah.
a thing, yeah.
Yeah, so that boy from the island, he teams up with that girl who found him, and then there's another one who he teams up with.
In the first book, well, no. In the first book, she basically leads him, brings him back to the human world, and he basically stays in like the scientific facility, and he does some hero work, a couple of hero work in the first book, and then at the end of it, he joins the main superheroes to train to be a hero.
Okay.
So like the second book, the first book is essentially like him basically, kind of being a stranger in a strange land where he's journeying from basically the home that he's familiar with into the strange world with other humans because, he kind of wants to, because he's like the only human on his island. So his origin is a mystery basically. And he basically, so there's that. And when he goes to the human world because he wants to see what the human world's like, and it's a very strange place, and he has to learn all the different things that make up human society. So and then the second book is kind of like him basically finding people his own age that he can sympathize with, which are the other heroes. So he wants to make friends with them. Yeah. And then I just plan to have the third book be basically the dangerous side of hero work where people could die and stuff. Like he's in like a very dangerous situation where basically, the entire team could die. Yeah.
So
I got inspiration from listening to I'm not sure if did you see Logan?
I haven't seen Logan, but I don't mind spoilers.
You know the trailer that plays like the song "Amazing Grace."
Yeah.
That song kind of was part of the inspiration for the third book. Basically, that song was kind of playing in my head when I was brainstorming it. Yeah, because that song kind of gives off a very like it's the end of someone's gonna die, or it's the end of a story arc basically with how it's sung.
Yeah, I can kind of see why why there's kind of like there's always kind of like a mood to a song that you usually have.
Whereas like with the second book, my main the first book, I was listening to a lot of I was listening to like a Dragon Ball song. I was listening to Dragon Ball Z theme songs for that, and then with the second book, I was listening to Naruto theme songs. Yeah. So in the third book, I'll probably listen to some superhero stuff.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, so I like to I like to listen to music to get in the mood for writing when I'm doing NaNoWriMo.
Yeah. You ever heard any of the music from Boku no Hero Academia?
You mean My Hero Academia?
Yeah.
I am actually not. It was on Netflix, but now it's gone. So because Netflix is really annoying that way, so I'll have to stream it sometime when I have a better computer because my computer is running down. So I don't want to go on any streaming website with this computer.
Yeah. I think there's this one song that you might like. It's called "You Can Be a Hero."
Okay, it's a theme song, or is it like a songs with like a lyrics?
It's kind of like a score, really.
Okay, it's a score. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I think I can probably link it to you after the stream is done. So.
Oh, sure. Well, it's just like what is it? Yeah, because that's the thing about anime. For me, it's like a good soundtrack is super important to enjoying an anime for me. It's one of the reasons why I love Naruto so much because I think the soundtrack is really, really good. Like, it has a very diverse soundtrack.
Yeah, there's like some. I think I'm gonna probably try to get into Naruto because I've gotten to Yu-Gi-Oh recently. But
so you watched the Yu-Gi-Oh on Netflix? Because I was rewatching it for nostalgia purposes. It's really funny we were watching the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want to. I kind of want to do. What was it? I really want to do a YouTube poop for Comicsgate. It's just it'd just be really hard because you have to get all the sound bites that people do with when you do YouTube poop. I'm not sure if you've seen YouTube poop.
Oh yeah, I used to watch a lot of them.
Yeah, I want to do a YouTube poop for Comicsgate where I'll take different Comicsgate people. Like I'll pick a Comicsgate person and basically do whole sound bites where I make it look like they're saying stupid things.
Oh yeah.
Like YouTube poop Captain Cummings.
Oh man, that would actually be kind of that'd be kind of funny to see like what you could come up with.
Yeah. I know. Like, it just would take a while to edit. I just you have to edit all the different stuff. I mean, it's possible. It's just it would take a while, but it would be really funny though. I see.
Yeah.
I see. The hard part is just finding the sound bites, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you seen YouTube poop Naruto? Because Naruto has some really funny YouTube poops.
I haven't, but I heard there's like a Naruto abridged.
A bridge is different. Like basically, YouTube poop like says the random stuff. Like basically, if you want to find good YouTube poops, the best ones I've seen so far, like the Pokemon YouTube poops are really funny, especially like Ash is a jerk. Like Ash is a jerk is definitely the funniest Pokemon YouTube poop. And then for Naruto, there are three. There's basically Naruto is a homosexual, believe it. And then there's everybody wants a jug of cum. And then the third one is basically today's the day.
Okay.
Those are the three. Those are the three ones you should check out because those are really funny. It's like everyone wants a jug of cum is really funny. Basically, did you ever watch that? I think it was a filler arc where basically they go to like the hidden waterfall village to like retrieve that sacred water. It's like one of the very early arcs, like filler arcs or whatever.
I think so, maybe.
Yeah, it's like they go to the village in the waterfall. Okay, so the joke about that is that instead of it being sacred water, it's basically cum, and it's like they make a joke how it makes your cock go tenfold and stuff.
Yeah, I actually I saw that arc, and I get what you're going through. Yeah,
it's basically they basically turn into like a really sick sexual joke, basically where they use like the bleep button to basically make it seem like they're cursing and being really inappropriate. Because if you use a bleep at the right time, you'll make it seem like they're actually being really, sexually aggressive.
Yeah.
And then today's the day is basically it's essentially like the first couple episodes of Naruto, and they're like editing around doing really ridiculous stuff. Like it's very spastic. Like it's really all over the place and ridiculous. That's what makes it funny. And then Naruto's a homosexual is basically like taking one or two episodes from like later in part one and essentially like making a gag about how like the joke is that Naruto and Sasuke are totally gay for each other.
Yeah.
Because you've heard that joke, right? Is that like the joke is that they're totally gay for each other, yeah?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very common joke in the Naruto community, but so that's basically what the YouTube poop is based off of. But and Ash is a jerk is really funny. It's basically like it's essentially like going through like his first several of his first I think it's I'm not sure if it's the entire first series of Pokemon, but it's basically just a joke about him doing all these somewhat jerky things. It's like really random.
Yeah.
Because that's what YouTube poop does. Another good YouTube poop that's not anime is basically like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Like that's a really good one.
Yeah. There's actually there was a Drake and Josh YouTube poop that actually went on for 30 minutes. That it was like an entire YouTube poop of an entire episode with a bunch of people collaborating on it. So there were a lot of scenes that were parodied.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took it down. Well, the guy who uploaded it took it down, but then someone else uploaded it, but I guess it's blocked here in America. But I think I remember there was this one part that I kind of wanted to see be turned into a YouTube poop where I don't know if you've seen Blade Runner. No, not Blade Runner. If you've seen Hellraiser 3, but I actually did a meme of this on Twitter where Pinhead, he just kind of has his arms out kind of like copying Jesus, and then he's just like, I am the way. And then on Twitter I put the meme where it's Uganda Knuckles, and he's like, "I am the way."
Oh yeah, we know the
Yeah,
way. I know because people joked about that with Black Panther saying, "Oh, that is not our way" and stuff. He does not know the way. Yeah, no. But yeah, that's the thing about YouTube poop is YouTube poop was really popular a few years ago. I'm not sure if it's. I don't think very many people are doing it anymore. But yeah, that was really popular years ago, where people were like, yeah, making all these joke videos. But yeah, because like I've been thinking about maybe trying to do some music videos because I'm not sure if you watch those. Like back then, in the early days of YouTube, people used to take clips of anime and make like a music video out of it, you know, because those were
yeah.
super hot. I mean, people still do
Uh,
it now, but like I remember back when I first got on YouTube, that was like super hot. Like everyone was doing that.
oh yeah, like AMVs.
Yeah, AMVs. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
that was like among the first things people were doing on YouTube. Basically, with videoing software was making AMVs, and some were actually really good. Yeah, it's just when TV Tokyo was being really aggressive with their copyright, they were taking down a lot of videos
yeah,
because TV Tokyo apparently thought that music videos would harm their sales, despite the fact that I got into a couple animes because of their music videos actually. So I think it's kind of bullshit.
yeah. I used to kind of watch a lot of AMVs back then, but I think I kind of stopped for whatever reason. But
Yeah, I haven't watched in a while either.
yeah, um, I I know that there's like a ton of let me see. Oh, that kind of reminds me. Well, no, wait, I forgot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But yeah, I watched. Yeah, I watched the Yu-Gi-Oh show. I binged it a bit.
yeah,
When I was on Netflix and stuff. Because yeah, that was really funny watching it again. All of like the joke. Because watching as a kid, I took it way more seriously than watching as an adult. Watching as an adult, it's pretty funny. Just watching how crazy the
yeah,
show is, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna place two cards face down and stuff. It's like, yeah, it's
yeah.
all
Um,
about duel monsters.
Yeah, I also got to see Dragon Ball Z abridged by Team Four Star.
Oh yeah, that's on YouTube. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z Bridge is really fun. Like I saw Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge first because that was like arguably the first one, or at least the most popular one. Then Dragon Ball Z The Bridge came out, where like Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged, they don't really the guy doesn't really add in editing or special effects, but with Dragon Ball Z The Abridged, they actually do a lot more editing of the episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was actually kind of thinking of like just watching a bridged series. That way, I can kind of like not watch the entire series, but just kind of have like the show kind of summarized, if you know what I mean.
The Abridged series tends to be very fictitious, you know, tends to not really be accurate because they're like joking around.
Yeah,
It's like, Nappa, power levels are bullshit.
yeah, oh yeah, and then there's like Ghost Nappa, which was pretty freaking
Ghost,
funny. Yeah,
yeah, the Ghost Nappa song, yeah.
yeah.
I know.
But yeah, I as for like YTPs, I actually remember I wanted to do one of, I don't know if you've seen like Super Mario Logan, but there's this one video called Cat in the Hat where this character Bowser Jr. They use like plushes and kind of like dub over them. So basically there's this like plush of the Cat in the Hat who just kind of comes out of nowhere in Junior's house and just kind of starts like talking nonsense, and Junior's just kind of like Bowser Jr. He's just kind of like, oh, who are you, what are you doing
Oh,
in my house, like
did you ever
that
did you ever watch the epic rap battles of history?
oh yeah, I've seen a few episodes, yeah.
Yeah, the funniest ones are like, yeah, like the from my opinion, I think the best one is the cat Dr. Seuss versus William Shakespeare. That's really funny.
Oh yeah, I think I might have seen a little bit of that, but I think I'm gonna go back and rewatch that.
Yeah, there's some are really good. Also, I like the Chuck Norris versus Bruce Lee. That was funny too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was politically incorrect, which made it really funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then personally, I also really liked the Donald Trump versus. I think there's Donald Trump versus Hillary.
I didn't see that. I haven't seen any of the recent ones. Like I really like the Stephen Hawking versus Albert Einstein. That was a good one.
Yeah. But I guess like the YTP I kind of wanted to do was instead of the cat, it was actually going to be Anita Sarkeesian's voice so dubbing it. So like the cat was going to say like all the like everything is sexist and all that, and then Bowser Jr.'s just like normal dub voice. He's just going to be like, what are you doing in my house? Like what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's this other YTP that I've actually seen where this guy had like clips from the Kids React on the React channel, the Fine Brothers. So the kids were reacting to what was it, queer kid stuff, and it was just kind of, it was actually pretty funny the way that like just kind of thinking that this would be like, just thinking this could be how like the kids actually could react to queer kid stuff. Like yeah. But
yeah, that's just, yeah, it's just, yeah, YouTube poop used to be really popular, but like I said, I'd like to make one. It's just like, yeah, it's just the editing process is going to take a long time. Because it normally requires being able to like, you have to freeze the clip and then basically, you know, add in the sound effects, like gags and stuff. Yeah. So it'll take a long time to make.
Yeah, right now I just the only editing software I really have is Windows Movie Maker. Like
yeah.
But you got like editing software, or you kind of?
Yeah, I just have Hit Films. So it's an editing software, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, YouTube poop is gonna take a while to make, but it'd be really fun to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, but like I don't know if you would ever like want to try this, but like taking like people's like for example Max's like whatever interviews she has like on YouTube, if you would actually like edit her voice to make her say like really dumb stuff or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that's just kind of a suggestion, but yeah.
Yeah, that would be funny stuff, but yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, but besides like the whole Nano Wild playing, I did actually start writing my like kind of like, it's like Percy Jackson, but it involves Catholics, where it's like essentially they're kids who are like blessed to be able to see and fight like demonic entities. So the main character like goes to a school where he learns to basically, in a sense, be a knight who goes in and hunts, like either a knight or a crusader, where you want to call it. And he basically goes to hunt demons, and like he'll get like a magic sword or like a divine sword to like hunt demons with. So it's kind of like that. So it's a little bit Harry Potter, a little bit Percy Jackson, but for Catholics.
I kind of really want to see a story like that, because you never really see like a lot of like fantasy movies or TV shows with like Christian themes in them. I mean, aside from Narnia.
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, like the other NaNoWriMo story idea also was going to be like that, where it's a sword and sorcery novel, but it takes place in the Middle Ages. You know, like the main character is like a sword wielding like Frenchman basically, and he basically was like what was it? He was basically imprisoned because, you know, like how back around the Middle Ages, like you had a lot of Islamic conquest going on in Europe.
Yeah.
So he was sold into Islamic slavery, and then he escapes, and then he basically becomes like a devout Christian and stuff, and like he swears his loyalty to the church and stuff, and he also happens to carry a weapon that essentially is demonic, and it's like a Hellblade, where essentially anyone who gets killed by it goes straight to hell. Basically, like it doesn't matter how pure you are. If you're like, it doesn't matter if you're pure. like you're a very great person, like live by all the rules. If you get killed by the blade, you'll definitely go directly to hell.
So it's a Christian boy who has the Hellblade, or
Well, he's not a boy. I mean, he's an adult in this by the time the story takes place. Just like, yeah, as a kid, yeah, he was sold in slavery and stuff. But yes, no, he's a devout Christian and stuff. He just carries a blade because he's tasked with using it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in the wrong hands, basically in the wrong hands, the blade would be deadly. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you were kind of like making this into a short story, or you were thinking of making it into
well, it's NaNoWriMo, so it would have to be a novel, actually. But this was a NaNoWriMo story idea, and essentially, it's like, think of Conan the Barbarian if it was set in our world, like basically actual Europe during like the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically like a medieval fantasy that also happens to be a sword and sorcery. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's
so it's like a sword and sorcery novel for Catholics.
Yeah. So you were actually what would hell kind of look like in I mean, does the main character actually go into hell, or
No, I don't think he goes into hell. I mean, he's seen demons and stuff, but like essentially it's like in my stories, hell always looks like what it would look like in Dante Alighieri's Inferno. Yeah, it looks exactly like that. If you're read Dante Alighieri or have seen paintings that are representative of his form of hell. Inferno.
I've actually kind of I know a little bit about it. I haven't really like looked really deeply into it.
Paintings, right? Because like there's a lot of artwork inspired off of Dante.
Yeah, I was because I know there's like different layers of hell, and that like it gets worse the deeper.
If you look at all of the classical paintings and drawings of hell are basically inspired off of Dante, like all those classic paintings. You'll find, those are kind of all take inspiration from like Dante's Inferno. So it's basically he basically was the first to give a very in-depth description of hell, because most people used to say hell is just full of brimstone and demons where the devil lives. Whereas he actually gives a very in-depth and like, scary depiction.
Yeah.
Like what it looks like, what kind of tortures are going along there. Everyone has like their own special, torture depending on what sin they committed.
Yeah, I was actually I kind of looked it up right now, and it's kind of interesting that the very bottom one is actually just like ice, or it looks like ice.
Yeah, it's for traitors, and that's because I'm not sure about the ice, but the reason why traitor is the worst level of hell is because in Dante's personal life, he basically was betrayed by his friends and exiled from his hometown. That's kind of why, that's one of the reasons why hate and betrayal are like the two lowest levels, because it's kind of like his personal experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like in a philosophical way, one can interpret that Dante's Inferno is also like a metaphor for his travel, his journey within his soul. It's like a self journey.
Yeah, I've actually been meaning to like look for an audiobook of it so that I can kind of hear it while I'm like doing stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I have a Kindle, so I'm probably gonna get it sometime and read it. Yeah, I have the book on hand, but I have trouble reading actual books now because I'm so used to a screen. So yeah. But yeah, it's called a Divine Comedy. It's like the Inferno is part 1 to the Divine Comedy, and the next part is like basically his journey through heaven, which is Paradiso.
Yeah.
But essentially, basically, my hell is basically in all my stories. If hell exists, it essentially is like, basically like Dante's Inferno.
Yeah,
it's like a city basically. It's almost like an underworld city. Yeah.
Yeah, that I always kind of like imagine that when they kind of make like the lesser demons, of course, would be like human size, like as tall as a man, maybe a little bit taller. But then when you get to like the bigger ones, like say what was it when you get to maybe not Behemoth. Maybe it's Behemoth, but when you get to like the bigger gods, the kings, you like they're a lot like bigger, almost kind of like
Yeah, like yeah, I get that. Yeah, the archdemons. Yeah, see, in my stories, basically, archdemons, they're kind of like the same size, maybe a little taller than humans and stuff. It's just that they derive their power from the seven deadly sins, like the princes of hell and stuff, have their different, for each seven deadly sin, they draw power from. Like, take for example, Satan is wrath, and Lucifer's pride. And then
yeah.
there's like Asmodeus, which is lust, and all that, and like the others, like with Beelzebub is gluttony. So basically, in my stories, like my superhero stories, they have children who are basically kind of like, like how the Antichrist is prior of the prophecy of the end of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, essentially, in like my superhero story, each of the archdemons have children, which are kind of like their champions. So they kind of, are kind of representative of like the end of the world potentially.
Yeah, I actually kind of had a similar idea where it was probably like four children from three different kings who kind of competed against each other to see who would eventually be able to carry on the throne. But, well, that wouldn't really, I never got to flesh it out completely. So, I mean, it's just kind of an idea that's just out there, but I mean, I don't think I'm gonna really work on that at anytime soon. So, I think that's just kind of a scrapped idea at this point. But yeah,
The thing is I guess with my characters, they each have their powers are based around their heritage. So like Lust was kind of difficult. Like basically, I guess the joke was that he has like a love beam or something. It's something weird. I have to think of it basically, but Satan was easy, just how hate would work in a superpower, and then pride was a little difficult, but sloth and like gluttony were easy. Like the gluttonous one can like eat anything basically. That's a superpower, so he can literally eat anything.
Yeah.
And then what was it? Trying to think of the others. Like the character, like the main character of that story arc was going to basically be the son of Satan. So he basically is angry. So his power derives from rage. So it's kind of like, think of a bit of like the Hulk mixed with Super Saiyan, where it's like, oh yeah, he wants to get more powerful. He has to think of like, like how in Harry Potter they have Patronus charms.
Patronus charms. That's kind of like when
like those animals. Like those animals made of light that drive away Dementors.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically think of that. But instead of thinking of the most happiest moment of life, you think of the most angry and hateful moment of your life, and that's how he gets more powerful, basically.
Oh, that would be friggin' awesome.
Yeah, that's basically it. He gets more powerful by thinking of all the hateful stuff. And again, he also eventually, I think what was it? Other demons, like archdemons, like higher upper Jimians in general, can get power from negative emotions. And given how hateful people are today, like you have all the angry politicians and stuff, they gain energy from that. That's the thing is, like literally being in certain parts of the world can make him stronger or less stronger. Like if he's in a place like Israel, like a place that's very holy and stuff, is like people are not as sinful, his powers will decrease down a bit. But if he's like in America, like in New York City, where everyone's yelling at each other and people are like getting angry, he can like get super strong. Because he's like literally taking. It's like a Superman. Like Superman takes in soul ration, but in this case, he's taking in people's anger and hatred.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's a lot of tension in the air, sort of.
Kind of, but yeah, in that case. So it's like basically, essentially is because of the modern day where people are less religious and don't really care much if they're angry, because people are always angry nowadays. Demons are now more stronger than ever because people are more sinful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing with the demon of lust. Like a demon of lust gets powered by lustful people, and people are super lustful today. So essentially, I modeled the main character kind of off of Issei from High School DxD, where it's like he just lives for like the pussy. That's literally his thing. He will basically. I summarize his character in this sentence is, he will peak when you're asleep. He loves that booty. Will fight to the death for that booty. He will live for that booty and die for that booty and stuff. Basically, titty all day, every day. That's literally the character's slogan stuff.
Yeah. What'd you say the character's name was again?
I have to think of his name. I can't remember his name, but basically, essentially, he's like the demon of lust. Like, he's basically the son of the demon of lust, so he's like a really lustful horn dog and stuff.
Yeah. So he kind of like, I mean, what's his power with that personality of his?
I'm trying. I wrote down somewhere. I have to think about it again. I wrote it down somewhere, but yeah, it's like it's lust related, so I can't remember. All I know is like he does have like some type of like he has like a charm, like he gets all the girls basically. Picking up girls is pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he has other powers as well. Basically, oh yeah, now I remember. Essentially, he can use magic, like he can shoot balls of energy based upon like how like his lustful and passion he is. Like the more lustful he is, the more powerful he is. Like he has a joke where basically he asks like a girl if he can grab her boobs and stuff if he wins this battle and stuff. And then when she says yes, he basically is like, he gets all extra strong and basically says, I feel like I could kick even Satan's ass and stuff. Because I'm so lustful, yeah.
Yeah.
So the more lustful he gets, the more stronger he gets, yeah. And I plan to have one scene where he literally gets stabbed and is about to die, and he's in between life and death, where basically he gets a vision of his father who comes to him, and he tells him basically, son, you can die here and stuff, but if you die, you'll never get to feel what's her name's boobs and stuff, who you have a crush on ever since you were a little kid. And then he immediately wakes up and then like gets super angry and like starts charging at the enemy and beats them soundly. Because he's like furious that he got in the way of his potential fulfilling his fantasy. It's like literally, it's like imagine those scenes in the anime where someone gets up after being mortally wounded and then like has like that determination in their eyes, you see those in the anime a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, have you seen those before? It's like how in the anime a character gets beaten and then they like give a speech and then they like get up and start charging like a mad person stuff.
Yeah.
It's like that basically, but instead it's just because if he died, he wouldn't be able to like crush his boobs and stuff, so he like loses his shit. He's like literally crying. He's literally getting up off the ground with tears of rage in his eyes and stuff.
Oh man.
But that's basically it. It's literally like with High School DxD. It's meant as like a joke on all those tropes and stuff in like a sexual way.
Yeah.
It's like this is a melodramatic moment, but it also happens to be under the context of something sexual potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like, I mean, that's not really a superpower, that's just like his personality.
Well, his superpower is that he gets stronger technically. He does know magic. He can use some forms of magic, and again, like when he's more lustful, he'll get stronger. Like he'll get supremely strong.
Yeah. So that's like that's like a like so it would, I'm not really sure if you could like say like who each like team is, at least like which teams you actually have like because you say that there's like
I wrote down a book somewhere. It's like 3-person teams, so there's several of them. And I can't remember. I don't know it was one team. All I know is that one team had like a princess on it. She basically I have to fill out her backstory, but essentially is she's a princess that is driven by emotion. So it's like when she gets really emotional, like whether she throws a tantrum or is super happy, she gets really strong. Like she can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
but she's pretty cute, yeah.
Yeah. So you let me see. Yeah, and never mind.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, there was also, what was it? Well, yeah, because I was also thinking about how to do like the Demon of Sloth, like how his superpowers will work, and it's like basically the only thing I think of is that his powers are basically essentially he slows people down. Like it's not I wouldn't call it time-based powers, but it's almost like he zaps people's energy and kind of gives off the effect like the entire world is slowing down to them, you know? It's like some form of like, mental. It's like a mental attack and stuff where it's like to you, it's like everything is moving slow and slowing down, but everything's actually moving normal for him.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that too. But well, maybe that for him, or probably like for that actually would be kind of interesting. That like instead of super speed, it's just him really slow. Like they're just too slow for him.
Basically, how it works is it's like a drug. Basically, it's like he's affecting the brain, kind of like a type of hard drug, where it's like everything is just slowing down, looks very woozy, like it just looks very. It's almost like I wouldn't call it like a drunk effect. I wouldn't call it. It's like being drunk. It's basically like it's just like. Did you ever see Judge Dredd?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you know, like the new movie with Carl Urban.
yeah,
Yeah, you know, like how there's that drug slow mo where when they take it, everything slows down.
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that basically, where it's like everything is just slowing down and stuff, and you know, you basically it's just like it's almost euphoria and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like that basically, but instead of it being euphoria, it's just kind of it's like you feel like mush basically. You know, you just get this feeling like everything's slowing down and you feel like you can barely move and stuff. It's like it has a very weird effect. Like it's a very weird mental attack. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I don't want it to be, and I think I'm in order to make it not seem too overpowered. I think you have to make eye contact with them and stuff for it to work, just to make sure it's not super overpowered. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You I was also thinking that for gluttony, I don't know if you've thought about this, but like for gluttony, it'd be kind of like the Blob from X-Men.
Kind of. It's just that he's not really fat. He just can eat everything. So think of it as like his stomach is like a pocket dimension and stuff, and he can basically consume anything. Yeah, so he can consume anything, and like his stomach is basically like if he eats a person, he would basically send them to hell. So it's like his stomach is basically almost like a portal to hell. So like when if he ate you, you would literally be like digested, and like go straight down to hell and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that.
So like your soul will go to hell. Yeah.
Yeah, that actually sounds a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what were like other ideas that you thought of?
For what?
Oh, I was actually
Like
kind of wondering, like, I don't know if like you would want to talk about the villain, if that's like really spoiler heavy.
Villain for what?
For your trilogy, if there's like one villain or multiple.
There's no villain until the third book. Like the second book didn't really have a villain. I mean, if I add a villain, I guess maybe, but the book as it currently is doesn't have a villain.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have so you only really thought about making like a one trilogy. You weren't thinking of making like multiple trilogies, kind of like how Peter Jackson, or no, not Peter Jackson, like how Percy Jackson has its own series, and then there's also like spin-off series like with the Egyptians and the all of that.
Oh, let's say it again.
Hold on. You weren't thinking of like making like way more than just a trilogy. You were just kind of thinking of just this trilogy.
Okay, so basically this trilogy is in my superhero universe, which spans so far like 5 books. Like there's these last 2 books that I've written were part of the trilogy, and then the other 3 novels I've written before are basically set in the same universe, just with different characters or in a different time frames. Like Like one book was basically was basically a comedy horror that basically involved a guy who hunted monsters with like a chainsaw sword and stuff. He was
Yeah.
basically hunting monsters and taking out a cult of like he basically took out essentially a cult that was like a matriarchy that worshipped a goddess that wanted to like enslave the world. And they basically were going to make like they were basically like a reference to like feminism, like radical feminism.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. So yeah, that was a horror comedy. Then the next book was basically what was it? The next book what was the next book? Sorry, I'm trying to remember if it's maybe it's 4 books. I have to research it. Sorry, I'm trying to think. Let me check.
Yeah, that's okay.
I was gonna go to NaNoWriMo quickly because I can check. But yeah, so far, I mean, the only thing I think was that there are 4 books, and that's so far I've done, which is basically the core comedy, basically a Suicide Squad inspired novel featuring like basically a group of characters who basically are kind of like captured by a secret organization that is part of like the Catholic Church, and they basically go on a mission to fight like essentially like basically kind of like feminazis.
Yeah.
Like they're Nazis, but they're also mainly women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like a different series you planned out all together, or it's kind of like in the same universe?
Basically same universe, but they weren't like the characters could cross over at some point, but they aren't like,
Yeah.
they're not like, oh, this is all part of like a thick continuity.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so each like those 4 books, that's kind of like new new main character who just like that's not like an anthology series, that's just kind of like or I mean, is it like a new 4-part series with the main character? Is it like an anthology series?
What? You mean the books as a whole?
Yeah.
It's not really. Again, it's not. I wouldn't really call. They're not part of the same series. They're just set in the same universe. They're separate series that could have sequels, but they're just in the same universe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so basically, yeah, there are 4 novels in that same universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what did you have in mind with your sword and sorcery story?
Yeah, it's essentially just like I said, it's just kind of like Conan the Barbarian. So it's kind of like, there's a lot of action in it where he basically, is like a devout Catholic who also, is also vengeful. So there's a whole thing about, turning the other cheek and stuff. But, he's also like a vengeful person because he basically, I think, he like has family. I haven't thought up the entire story yet, but essentially it's kind of similar to Conan where like his family's killed and he also is enslaved. And he like, in a sense has a vendetta. Like he goes around kind of as a wandering swordsman, like, in a sense, like, killing, either like I wouldn't say he kills non-believers, but it's like if you cross him, he will probably kill you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's more willing to basically take out non-believers. Yeah. So he's kind of like a mercenary, but he also will do like tasks. Like if he feels like it's a work, like if he won't always just work for money though. So he's not like a pure mercenary. So he's kind of like a vigilante / mercenary who also like is on good terms with the church as well.
Yeah.
To an extent, like it is sometimes a strange relationship, but it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that was you you had like no, I wasn't actually I was gonna ask for the ending, but I think I can probably like if you
I
don't
haven't
really
read the stories, so I have no idea what the ending's like. yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that kind of reminds me of my own series where it's kind of like I was actually gonna have like a three different series all exist in the same universe, but like they're all different genres. One is more sci-fi, the other is a super well sci-fi kind of like Star Wars a little bit, and then the second one would be like a superhero story, and then the third one would be like a maybe high fantasy, but I'm thinking about that. But um, like it's kind of I'm still kind of working on the first two. Like the fantasy one, I already have like a concrete idea of what I want to do for that, um but the first and second one, like the sci-fi and the superhero stories, they kind of intermingle, especially when, like it's kind of really weird, especially when you have to really connect all of
Oh,
the
sci-fi and
uh,
fantasy.
um yeah, because I have a it kind of gets a little bit weird because there's um I don't know. It's just like one of those things that's like I really feel like doing one thing. This isn't gonna like make a lot of sense, but I feel like doing one thing like there's like this element of kind of like maybe Twin Peaks where the main characters are in because the sci-fi one it has like all this alien adventure kind of space travel, and yet there's also like on Earth where the main character is like home on his home planet, like Earth. It's kind of like he lives in this town that's actually very weird, and but like that's kind of like I feel like it'd be kind of like pointless to have like a mysterious town angle, especially when there's like alien adventures that he goes on. Like there's nothing really weird that you can make the town like. I mean, unless well, maybe like everyone could have their own like little secret or something, but I mean it just to kind of like drama, but it'd be kind of like unnecessary to go with the mysterious town angle, especially when like aliens and magic and all of that. Like they're already we already at the start of the series we already kind of know that they're there.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, like let's say like yeah, I get what you're saying because yeah, I mean I want to do a science fantasy too someday. I just haven't really thought of any ideas right now. Like well, one thing I do want to do is I kind of want to basically since I played so much D&D, I kind of want to make like a epic fantasy novel that is basically kind of like comical in a way where it's like yeah, it's kind of like a mixture of like it's think of like a bit of Suicide Squad with the humor and stuff where it's like it's essentially like a party of adventurers like you see in D&D, just that they're kind of over the top, like they're just really ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Like yeah, like you have one character who's like a sorcerer who is like a chaos, like total chaos and stuff. And then you have like a paladin that's like a total asshole and stuff, like kills people and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, it's
but
like the worst. Yeah, basically like it's like that slogan in the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer for Suicide Squad where it's basically like worst heroes ever and stuff. It's like worst heroes ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like you have a lot of ideas kind of like written down on paper or just kind
Not
of
really.
in
A
your
lot
mind.
of them are just brainstorm, which yeah, if I wasn't so lazy, I would write them down. But you know, yeah. I mean, some
Okay.
ideas because you know, with NaNoWriMo, you can't start a story and then say I'm gonna write it in NaNoWriMo, you know, continue writing in NaNoWriMo. Like it has to be an original story, you know what I mean? Like you can't like start writing a story and then say I'm going to write the rest for NaNoWriMo. Does that stop? Because so there's sometimes you have to basically pick an idea you want for NaNoWriMo and an idea that you're not going to use for NaNoWriMo, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing is, yeah. So sometimes I just like to keep my options open, but I think I'll just yeah, it's probably best to write some more stuff. Because like years ago, I wrote an epic fantasy like I got like to like I think 6 chapters, something like that. It was like 3 point of views that kind of involve like an elf who is basically like a thief and a shapeshift, not shape, he's not a werewolf, but he's a shapeshift that turns into a wolf and stuff. And the third one was basically going to be like a prince who ran away from his kingdom because he committed atrocity that haunted him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was kind of basically, I was taking inspiration a bit from Lord of the Rings a bit.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I actually got to rewatch the first movie on Netflix. That's kind of cool that they have the first one on Netflix. I
I
just
have
kind
on
of wish.
TV, so I just have to watch them all again.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lord of the Rings is like, yeah, I kind of consider like the last great classic in Hollywood, maybe next to Lincoln. Like Lincoln, I think was the last movie I really enjoyed as a classic. I thought it was a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah, I kind of like, cuz with like something like Star Wars where it's kind of like they used to really I was actually kind of like listening to a little bit of a rant by someone who was like talking about the sword fights in Star Wars, and they just kind of like I mean, I think they do choreograph the fight scenes. It's just that like they're not, because you can kind of tell that like what kind of fighting styles throughout the series they have. Like for the original trilogy had like you could tell that it was probably like fencing. The prequels were more like martial arts, but like the new trilogy, it's kind of like you can't really tell like where the inspiration comes from, you know.
What for martial arts in Star Wars?
Like the original trilogy had like they were inspired by fencing with the sword fights, and then uh
The prequel trilogy had more. Well, it also had to do with like the different style, like how they explain the EU is these styles of lightsaber combat give these different styles inspired off of different forms of like sword fighting. Like the whole spinning in acrobatics is like in a form called a taru in the EU.
yeah.
It's like an actual lightsaber form, and then like Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader use Gem So, which is more basically direct, like almost longsword fencing, combat. Like this combat, you see like a person in like medieval times fence with a like two-handed longsword.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why it looks like that. And then like Count Dooku's style is essentially fencing. It's like the closest thing to fencing. And then Form 1 is basically like basic slashing and defense. And then Form 6 is like the first 5 forms put together into like a basic form. And then Form 7 is a crazy rage-filled form.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's explained to EU why the differences in fighting style look the way they do. It's because characters were using different forms of lightsaber combat. So like the acrobatic looks in the prequel trilogy was characters using a taru, like Yoda.
Oh yeah. But I guess kind of what I'm getting at is that I actually really like the original fight scenes in the original trilogy compared to the new ones, because it's kind of like there's kind of like that whole simplicity sort of thing where it's not like you're just kind of like the new like the original trilogy. I can understand that, because like these are Jedi that have gone through intense training, have been trained their entire lives, and have basically mastered the Force. But like the new trilogy, like Rey and Kylo, they haven't really had that kind of training. So like them being able to do all of that, it just kind of
well.
Yeah.
Well, most people's complaints about most people complain with the EU, saying the EU basically made the Force like superpowers, but it's kind of how the Force already is. But I actually like the variety of Force powers that the EU came up with, because there are lots of Force abilities. It's like a huge list of what you can do with the Force, which makes sense since it's basically kind of manipulating the universe. Like you're basically you're manipulating a bit of space and time and stuff, so that's going to be a thing. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just I just feel like some people's criticisms about the EU is just like it's either from a nostalgic standpoint or just it's just not really understanding that there are lots of good stories with the EU.
Yeah. I was also kind of thinking that one of my favorite lines, by the way, I'm actually reading the Last Command, the last of the Thrawn trilogy, and one of my favorite lines, I guess, in that whole trilogy is from Master C'baoth, where he's talking to Grand Admiral Thrawn, and Thrawn is like, why don't you consider these pilots important, or like, no, why don't you consider these pilots and their TIE fighters, like, why aren't the TIE fighters important to you? And then C'baoth is just like, what doesn't matter to a Jedi doesn't matter to the universe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of like classical movies, like I just kind of like looking back on it, it's kind of looking at movies from back then versus nowadays. Like nowadays, if you have like a sword fight, it's like especially in Hollywood, it's gonna be like overblown, just like them like going
Well, that's you'll find
kind of like,
entertaining.
oh yeah, I mean it is entertaining, but like I also kind of like a little bit of like the classical kind of like sword fights where they just try to, um, like in like more back then in the pre in past Hollywood movies where if you had like a sword fight, it wasn't like it was kind of like a simple kind of sword fight, sort of. I'm not really sure what I'm yeah.
Yeah, well, as a weapon, the lightsaber staff is very impractical because it can get slashed. Um, it can get slashed at the middle of the handle because the handle's longer than an
Yeah.
average lightsaber. There's that, and also what's the other thing? So that can happen, and then there's also like it's when you in real life when you hold it and use it, it doesn't really make sense compared to like a regular staff. Like a regular staff is much better because you can like shift your hand along the different lengths of it. So like you can basically allows you to like have a better range of motion.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense with a regular staff. But a lightsaber staff, it's like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's because your hands you can only have your hands on a certain part, you know? Like you can't shift along the blade, otherwise you cut your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, in real life, a lightsaber staff is impractical.
Yeah.
It hinders your range of movement.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of like the cross guard with the lightsaber. Like personally, I kind of would
Oh
have
yeah, that's pretty stupid. That makes no sense whatsoever, actually.
like I think that they could have actually made a really really cool looking cross guard. It's just that like the lightsaber just coming at the sides. Like I think that that's a little bit much. I think that like they should have had like two different parts, like two different machines that were on both sides, and they just kind of like made a horizontal like I think I might and there was this like one I can probably screenshot it, but there was this like one character like one fan art that someone made of the crossguard where it actually looked a lot more practical. But hold on. Yeah, it was a redesign. Let me see. I'm gonna try and no. Uh it might take me a while to find that, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I feel like they could have made a really cool looking cross guard if they wanted to, but eh, I just don't think that that looked, you know.
Yeah, it's again, as a lightsaber, it just doesn't really make sense. I understand what their intentions were. It's just the chance of cutting yourself is pretty high given how a lightsaber works.
Yeah. Um, but I was actually because I know that there were like a lot of let me see. Uh, and nah, I kind of had like a I forgot what I was gonna say.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just like yeah. I guess going to subject like science, fantasy, and all that stuff. It's just yeah. I mean, I haven't really had any ideas for science fiction yet. I mean, might try using some old ideas, but not too much. Like, it would be fun to have a space opera science fiction. I just haven't thought of any yet.
Yeah. Uh,
I mean, I guess I had one idea. I just have trouble remembering what it was about. I know it took a bit of inspiration from Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I've been actually been trying to. Let me see. I don't know if you've seen this show called Wayward Pines. It's by
No.
because I've been kind of interested in seeing like those kind of shows where it's kind of like this main character comes to this really weird town with all these weird kind of people. It's kind of like Gravity Falls, where it's kind of like these normal, well, I mean, like normal main characters, they just come into a town that's just really like there's always some kind of like secret that the town or like each town member kind of has. Uh, but I was
What?
oh nothing. I
No,
was just
you were about to say something. Sorry, I was looking at something.
oh nothing. But it was I've just been kind of binging like some uh I've been trying to kind of like find different things to kind of watch on Netflix. I know that I saw this one movie called The Breadwinner about this like it was this animated movie about this girl in I forgot where she was, but she's like a Muslim girl who's like in this war torn kind of uh this war torn country, and she's just kind of like her father get this is kind of just the plot of the movie, but she has to kind of pretend to be a boy so that she can get money for her family. And yeah, it's a really really good movie. It was actually nominated for best animated feature, but it lost to Disney, obviously.
Oh, what was it? What was the name of this film?
The Breadwinner.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen this, but it's an animated film.
Yeah.
Okay, what did it lose to Disney for? Like, what was the film that Disney made?
Just Coco. There were only like three movies.
You mean Pixar Coco?
Yeah.
Did you see Coco? Because I saw Coco.
I haven't seen it. I've been told I should
It's
see
really
it.
good. It's like Inside Out and like Up good. I mean, some people may not like it as much as Up, but it's definitely like as good as Inside Out. If you've seen Inside Out,
Yeah, I like that one.
yeah, it's like Inside Out as well. It's a Pixar film that has a very emotional moment to it. You know, like they hit you in the heartstrings, basically. Yeah, and it also is like the only. I think it's actually the only Pixar film with the musical numbers to it. So it has musical numbers to it, which is really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it involves mariachi, that genre of music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of was a little bit like.
Anyway, you must see it since you're part Mexican, right?
Yeah.
So you must see it. It's a Mexican story.
Yeah.
You are required to as a member of the ethnic group.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like with Black Panther, where you.
Well, I will not be seeing Black Panther, so I guess I have to turn in my African American card.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like with, I guess it's kind of like with Coco. At least it's not like the hype that Black Panther got, where it's like if you don't go see it, like yeah.
Well, again, because the purpose of Coco was not meant as some cult. Well, again, it's a kids' film, so they probably weren't going to do that. But if it wasn't a kids' film, then they probably would have done it. But the purpose of Coco was not to be political. It was basically taking this story idea that's based around the Day of the Dead, like a celebration in Mexican culture in doing it, you know. So I think that was a good thing that they didn't incorporate politics. They didn't, you know, it's a kid's film, so they weren't going to incorporate politics. So Disney was smart, which is why the film was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's like one of those things where it's like, well, yeah, I personally am more like interested in, well, I mean, I really want to see Black Panther. It looks really, really cool, but then like all the hype
I know
just
all
kind
the
of, yeah,
yeah, all the politics just it's just yeah, it's the same thing to me. Like someone posted on a Discord I'm part of for a role playing thing of making his opinions of Black Panther. I'd like to respond to it, but I just don't want to waste the time since just no point getting into a political debate because I mean, see, a lot of people complain about how Black Panther was treated like it was the first black superhero film, which it wasn't. But people are saying, well, it's culturally needed, but it's like again, that's just I just think that's kind of dumb because when you're basically using a character to preach a cultural message, then you can't get offended when someone does it with another character because that's what these people do. They always get offended when the other side uses characters for cultural messages. Yeah.
yeah, like it's kind of
Because I know Alan West liked it because he's like a political figure who liked it because he views it as a way of like encouraging kids to have dads again, saying it does have a positive impact on kids actually society realizing the need for dads and not like basically being born in like these single mother relationships and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might end up watching Coco if it's on. I'm gonna have to check on if it's
I'm not
on
sure if it's on
Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah,
But yeah, like I said, it's a really good film. Yeah. I just didn't see it. I saw it in like a theater that plays movies late, like after they've long been out of regular theaters.
yeah. I was actually kind of thinking that what was it? Hmm. Oh yeah, I saw the that kind of reminds me right now that I actually saw the debate between Candace Owens and Blair White, and that was like a
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a shit show.
that was a fucking train wreck. Like they
Well,
both
I
kept,
mean, it looks like it. I mean, that's not really what Dave Rubin's about, but it basically became an Andy Wardsky blood sport. It looked like
yeah,
an Andy Ward, but I mean, I do it. I'm not subscribed to him yet, but I do like his blood sports. Those are actually pretty funny, especially when it's like the alt right and like the left wing people or like non alt right people get into arguments.
yeah, yeah. The thing that like Candace and
It's just annoying thing is Mike Enoch.
like they both had some points, but they just kept like talking over each other. Like they just kept kind of like talking over each other and just kind of like saying really rude shit about each other. That's just kind of like
Yeah, it
if
was
I were
it was a cat fight basically.
if I were there, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
And Dave Rubin was like all shocked. Like he literally was not. I don't think he was expecting that because he literally looked like it's like, oh come on, stuff. It's like what did I do and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been meaning to, because with Blair White and Candace, I was actually kind of more interested in watching more blood sports because, admittedly, I actually did kind of like the drama that went into it.
Well, the whole drama was basically the reason for the behind the argument was kind of stupid anyway. It's just because Candace apparently refused to. Sorry, Candace like refused to what was it? Admit that she had been part of a website that involved doxing. Like it basically could be considered like a doc used for doxing because apparently if you type someone on type someone's name that like has a social media account, it could find out where they lived and stuff.
Yeah.
Like their name and information basically is a way of finding someone's name and information, which she says was used for like internet safety and stuff. But in fact, it could be used for doxing, essentially, because it basically is kind of doxing. She just refused to admit it that way. And yeah, she didn't close down the site or whatever.
Yeah. And then also Candace's opinion of Blair, where Blair, she was on that podcast where she made that one girl cry. like I actually listened to a part of it, and
Wait,
yeah, that
which
was
girl? Which girl was this?
it was this like redheaded girl. I think you can find the video on YouTube
Oh,
if you.
was that the transgender girl, or is that like someone else?
I know that was like after VidCon that there was this one person who
Okay, it
I
wasn't Lacey Green, right?
no, it wasn't Lacey Green, but I know that Blair got onto a live stream with this one girl and kind of made her cry and like
But she wasn't trans.
oh no, she wasn't trans, but she was a redhead. But I mean, yeah, Candace kind of had a
I
point
get
there
her.
too. But I did kind of feel like she was kind of deflecting the argument a little bit.
Yeah,
But
basically, from what I can tell, I didn't watch the entire. I didn't watch. I didn't. I couldn't watch the entire thing just because I just didn't feel like watching the shit show at that moment. It was just basically from what people say. It's essentially she went on a lot of personal attacks and kind of deflected the argument. Like she literally was trying to basically change the subject of the fact that she's like transgender and stuff. It was really ridiculous semantics. Yeah.
yeah,
So it basically turned into a shit show. Yeah. But
yeah,
the thing is, Andy Wartz streams like those are intentionally meant to be a shit show, where it's like especially like the Roosh V versus Lauren Southern debate, because Roosh V had a really good live stream about like trad thoughts, where he's talking about how like the role of women in the right wing movement.
yeah.
Because I'm not sure if you've been seeing the trad thought phenomenon.
I don't think I've
It's
seen that
basically
one.
the women who claim to be conservative and support traditional values, but they're sleeping around with guys.
Oh yeah,
Like, it's like Lauren Southern got a lot of hate from the alt right because it turns out she had like a black boyfriend who they were most likely fucking and stuff.
yeah.
So
I,
the alt right is now pissed because some members of the alt right were viewing her like kind of like I don't know, like what was like a symbol of like the perfect white woman.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. It was. I think I'm gonna probably try and listen to that stream at some point, but uh, I know that there's also like this debate with No Bullshit and Destiny. I don't know anything about Destiny, but I've seen No Bullshit, some of his videos. He's okay.
Yeah. I
But,
know like
but
Nick Finientes or whatever his name is, he basically got into a debate with Destiny, and I didn't watch all just because I can't stand Destiny, because Destiny is basically is like a sore loser and stuff.
yeah, he's a feminist, right?
Yeah, no, he's an SJW basically, and like he basically was one of the people that denied something was wrong with Sweden.
Yeah,
The whole controversy started when he basically like he got into an argument with John Tron Jafari, because apparently John Tron has like I'm not sure if he was serious or he just had he apparently has right wing opinions or something like that. So yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
uh,
So that caused a shitstorm, kind of like with the whole PewDiePie incident.
yeah. Um, And then I think I actually, yeah, I remember linking you this one video from this YouTuber called Claudia Brown, where, I mean, what did you think of that?
I didn't see that. I don't think.
Yeah, the whole capitalism video,
Yeah, I
like,
didn't. Yeah, I
yeah.
wasn't gonna watch that. Actually, it's just, it seems like it's probably very cringe.
Um, I mean, I've been trying to actually listen to more, I guess, like feminist YouTubers. I just try not to uh like I'm not gonna listen to any of the like Gazi Kadzo where he's like death to white people and all of
I
that,
mean,
but
Black Hitler.
like yeah, Black Hitler or to put it lightly, like even gay or Chris Tucker. So
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. It's just
Yeah.
no, it's just I just for if I'm gonna see those people, I'd rather just see them in a debate and stuff, which is pretty funny. But yeah, the shit shows just pretty fun. Shit shows are funny on Andy Wartsky's channel, just because the Roosh V debate with Lawrence Owen was hilarious, because he was basically being edgy the entire time.
Yeah.
You yeah.
Yeah. I think I've seen Roosh V's video on Comic Book Girl 19, or I think that was a different. I think that was a I think that was a different YouTuber, but I remember someone making a response to her. No, it wasn't Rich V. I think it was I think it was a different YouTuber.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I know is that Rushvi, basically, his stream about trad thoughts was essentially talking about how when a large groups of women come into a movement, they tend to change the landscape of that movement. As in, people begin to cuck and people become white knights. Like the alt right used to have a thought patrol where they were basically going around, taking down thoughts, and now they're basically starting to become white knights. Like apparently, Millennial Woes has been accused of being a white knight, and just several of them, are basically kind of falling for the power of the pussy and stuff.
I can probably understand that. Personally, I have like more male friends that I would personally like really defend in the comics game, cause like Geeky Bugle or like Wayward, if like anyone were to say shit about them, like I mean, I would get a little bit pissed, but I try to this year I'm trying to be a little bit more I guess you can say like calmer, probably.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the thing is that the debate is basically about the fact that was it when I guess what they're trying to say is that when women get into a movement, they want to change it to suit themselves so they feel more comfortable and stuff. Because men, on average, are better at being just more uncomfortable, because that's just kind of how we're hardwired and stuff. Whereas
Kinda.
women, they want to be more comfortable. So they want to change them. So women take heavy offense when you have the very, in a sense, the very, I guess you can say actual traditionalists, where they believe that women have this role and men are to be the leaders and stuff, and women are just the supporters. So some women take offense to that and stuff. So because the alt right is obsessed with gaining popularity, they basically will betray those ideas to basically cuck, to get more female support.
Yeah.
But the reality is that when you do that, you begin to embrace ideas like socialism and all the other welfare and that type of stuff, and you kind of morph into something you're not. Because when you look at it, it's like, in a sense of socialism is basically economic motherhood, given how it's all about taking care of people, kind of like how a mother takes care of her kids. And that always ends in disaster, mainly because, people abuse the system. And now you have what's going on in Europe where they basically imported a bunch of migrants that are screwing over the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like where like the big thing about it is that like just anyone who kind of comes into a community and decides, oh, hey, I kind of want to change this about the community, like
it's like with magic. I mean, we look at the Magic the Gathering phenomenon, where it's like it was very male dominated, and then when when women came in, they basically complained about how male centric and how sexist it was, and now the communities basically they're trying to dictate what we do in the community now.
Yeah.
I know, it's like that's what happens all the time. Same thing with gaming. It's like it's one of the things that happened with Gamergate was they literally wanted to dictate what we could and couldn't do in gaming.
Yeah. Oh, that actually kind of reminds me, but I saw this like response video from Thy Name is Skepticism, and she did a response video to this one really obnoxious like pink-haired girl who wanted to kind of like come into like say that fake geek girls don't exist. And to be fair, I mean, there's both sides really, like as long as you can kind of
you could say the cosplayers, when people say fake geek girl, they're talking about the hot cosplayers, saying that there are a lot of girls who just go to a convention just to cosplay, to get attention and show off. And that's normally what people mean by fake geek girl.
Yeah. And then
because there are lots of women that only go there for the cosplay. Like they don't go to a con for really any of the panels. They just want to show off their costumes.
Yeah. But she was also talking, the pink-haired girl, she was also talking about like, oh, you need to respect women more because like, like she kept kind of contradicting herself, because like she says like women have a hard time in the like nerd culture, but then like she also kind of says like men have it bad. I mean
yeah, it's weird. Well,
Yeah.
see, the thing is nerd culture has basically been affected with feminism because number one, nerd culture went mainstream. When nerd culture wasn't mainstream, it was mainly male dominated. Like if you look at it, women tend to invade these spaces when it becomes popular. When it becomes cool and mainstream, they're going to come because women are more likely to follow peer pressure compared to men because women think in terms of socially and basically as a group of people, whereas men are focused on objects and things.
Yeah.
So for them, it's easier. For men, it's easier to basically be outside the social norm and to basically support something that isn't popular. But once it
Yeah.
becomes popular, then the women start coming.
Yeah. Admittedly, there are like some women who are actually really, really cool, but those are kind of like,
Well, those are right now. It's kind of like they're well, we don't really have the exact numbers, but right now it seems like they're the exception, not the rule.
yeah, but pretty much it's kind of like the moment you say that, like, um, but I mean, if it's kind of, uh, hold on, uh, but it's kind of like when, uh, I guess it's just kind of like, like, oh yeah, there's this like one part where that girl that the pink-haired girl that thy name that skepticism actually responded to, like this pink-haired girl, she the like dumbest thing that she said was it was like small, but it was so dumb that she said like D20 dice, which is like you play like D&D, you don't need to say D20 dice, you just say D20, like the dice is
Yeah.
just redundant.
Yeah, you don't need to throw dice like D6, D20. Let's make it simple, yeah. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing is, it's just I don't, yeah, I get that. It's just
Yeah.
that's just the thing is, it's just right now. Whenever something, it's like with comics, like the SJW comics, these SJW issue like comic issues didn't arise until after superheroes took off with the MCU. Like it
Yeah.
just if you look at it, it's like literally right after the Avengers movie came out. That's when SJW Marvel really kicked into gear and stuff, you know.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
also got bad in 2014. Like 2014 was like the kickoff part, which is around the same time Gamergate happened as well.
Yeah,
Because also when Ania Sarkeesian hit the scene too.
yeah, because
Basically, all started with Ania Sarkeesian. This SJW geekdom essentially started with Ania Sarkeesian.
yeah, I actually kind of like. I think that because like comics are kind of a niche culture that well,
Yeah, it's even worse
yeah,
because when it's a niche culture, it's even harder to get rid of the SJWs. Gaming, on the other hand, makes a lot of money and is already a big enough market that they can't control. See, the thing about SJWs is you can't you can't give facts. See, one of the reasons why it's always best to meme SJWs in like out of the industry and to not care what they think or say is because they literally will not listen to facts or data. Like literally, if the data or facts don't add up, then they'll just claim misogyny or blame societal like social, social oppression. You know,
yeah,
like if a game is not selling enough, they'll just blame misogyny and like our male centric society and stuff. Like to them, it's literally the revolution never ends. You know, that's what Vladimir Lenin said with like the with communist Russians was that the revolution never ends. So to them, the revolution will never end. So they just won't stop. That's one of the reasons why giving them facts and data is basically useless because they're just going to double down and claim, yes, societal misogyny.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the
Uh,
reason why I think memes are important because by using the memes and ridiculing them, that basically is something that they can't fight because then they make themselves look stupid. Yeah.
yeah. Like it's kind of like the whole thing where it's kind of like what was it? Like with Black Panther, a lot of people were saying that that movie should have been filmed in Africa when it was
Yeah.
actually filmed in
I
South
saw that.
America. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that was like they'll
Well,
just
again,
kind
the
of like
characters had South African accents. I mean, call me a conspiracy. I mean, some people could make a conspiracy theory that they give them South African accents as a way of like, I don't know, popularizing what's going on in South Africa or something. I mean, that's a
oh yeah,
stretch, but they have South African accents apparently, which some people are confused because I think Wakanda is supposed to be on the east side of Africa,
yeah,
like around
and
Kenya or something. Yeah.
yeah, well, I think I said South Africa. I think I meant to say South America, but
Well,
yeah,
it's filmed in South America, but people were also complaining about the accents. That was one criticism was their accent
yeah,
is South American, and not to mention the fact that they also use Wakandan kung fu or something like that, which
yeah,
is not really a thing. It's like
yeah,
they're already African martial arts, but they decide to use that. Also, the use
yeah.
of spears is kind of stupid as well because like they could just use guns.
Yeah. And then there's also like just kind of like a lot of stuff that happened in comics that really kind of shows that people these like SJWs never give up when it comes to this stuff. But like the whole thing with Riri Williams when Brian Michael Bendis was writing her, and then like a lot of people were saying, "Oh my God, this is so awesome!" Like a black female Iron Man. But then like there were some people who were complaining that like, "Oh, I wish that a black woman was writing this."
Yeah,
Like,
the
yeah.
petition because she looks like the character. Yeah, it's very
Oh no,
stupid.
this happened like way before the petition. That like when they actually introduced Riri Williams, that they wanted a black female writer for her.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of like see that. Well, I don't know, but then there's also kind of like some yeah, I guess that's just kind of where I'm getting at, really.
yeah. It's all. I mean, it's all just ridiculous nonsense because again, it's all identity politics.
Hold on, I need to get the door. I'll be right back. Yeah.
Okay, folks, it looks like there's a dog barking. Okay, so I'm just gonna mute him for a second. Well, just to make sure there's no any break in the stream with no sounds. Yeah, I just think the biggest problem with SJW, the problem with SJW is that they just won't, regardless of how, they just won't listen to reason, regardless of how much facts or data you'll give them. They're just going to double down, use the same, either claim it's fake news or just say that it's all institutional, misogyny or racism stuff.
Yeah.
Are you back?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So,
yeah, that's the thing is just it's just all insanity right now, just because it's essentially like they don't care. Like, see, we're dealing with communists and socialists, and communists and socialists don't care if they run a business into the ground. It's all because of the Cultural Revolution stuff. I mean, they literally don't care. Revolutionaries never care when they run something into the ground. So that's the thing is these people do not care about if the medium gets killed. Now, one of the reasons why I support Alt Hero is because I think one of the ways to fix the problem is to basically balance out the politics to essentially have right-wing stories as well as left-wing stories.
Pretty much, yeah. Like,
yeah,
and I mean, I kind of want to know like what Brian Michael Bendis is going to be doing for Superman. Like,
Yellow Flash thinks he's gonna cuck and stuff.
I think I'm gonna need to see that video from him because I've been trying to binge his channel recently. Hold on.
Okay.
Hey, are you laying down?
No.
Oh, okay. Ashton's in the room. Grandma's just at the dollar store, so she'll be right here. Okay. Will you just leave the door cracked?
Okay.
Yeah, so the comic book situation seems a little bleak, folks. Let's hope that maybe someday we won't have to, see them all go. You back?
Yeah. That I've had someone someone kind of wanted me to take care of something. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I probably should end the stream now anyway, so it's like getting late.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, it was no problem.
Yes. So I'm gonna end the stream. So before I end the stream, you can find us on Twitter. My Twitter address is at obnoxious_virus. What's your address for Florence?
At Gamma GoPro, I think I'm gonna probably keep it that way.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So anyway, everyone, I hope you enjoyed watching the stream. This is just your King Billy signing out.